don't wanna see you. She don't wanna be with the bass. She don't wanna hear what nine in the bass. The one that won't. And though she never on the road. You'll tell her she is unstoppable. How she be doing it? She riding double. Eyo, 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 eyo. What do the lonely do when they want bud? What do they do? What do they do when they want bud? What do the lonely do when they want bud? What do they do? What do they do when they want bud? When they want some buns, all in an urban, this isn't what they want. Yep, saw it all of them, all they want, all they what you want, only what they want, this ain't what you want, this ain't what they want, this ain't what they want, this ain't what they want in line. Hit it up with the slime. Do it right and get the bind. Show it right and show the time. Ride the beat, ride the beat, ride the beat, ride the beat, you don't know it, ride the beat, ride the beat, ride the beat, ride the beat, ride the beat. Why the beat? To ride the beat, ride the beat, ride the beat. To sage the battle, chase the battle, stage the battle, hit the battle, sing son to what the love. Work the battle. Work the middle, now stroking 40s, stroking 40s, stroking 40s. Rock the boat, rock the boat, rock the boat. Change position. Work the middle, change position to love. Work the beetle, stroke on them D's, stroke on them D's, stroke on them D's. Oh, bop, bop, boop. How? And now we win, and now we win. Oh, and now we win. Why? Oh, you are wait. There you go. Wow. Hello. Can you hear me? No? Cannot hear me. Headset. Near camera. Audio. This is correct. This is not correct. Now can you hear me?
Can you really hear me, or can you not hear me at all?
No, I couldn't hear you at all. Now I can't hear you. I don't know why StreamYard always does this. It will start randomly messing with your settings. Listen, when they decided to package Windows 10, we should have seen this shit, this dog shit. There's no reason why my microphone settings should be getting attenuated when I plug it in and use a website browser. There's no reason for it to be looking at settings that aren't set as the standard. It's
exactly.
It's fucking
it's
annoying.
so fucking complicated to get things plugged in, and like it's a lot more harder just to set the microphone.
It's a nightmare, especially if you have any version of Windows 10 that has to be purchased through the Windows Store, because your version of Windows 10 is now depreciated. And even though the old security uplinks are still on the site, it's even harder to get functions to work as they should. Because now, if anything fucks up, they're not going to take responsibility. Oh, you need to upgrade to Windows 11. Fuck you! Windows 7 worked perfectly. Why did you waste my time with this trash? I know why all the games updated to Windows 10. It's because they needed to have the ability to make money with China, because China is upon the crack doing a bunch of shit. That's a conversation for later. But the whole entire conversation for later. There's a reason why League of Legends Classic is something that I literally learned about last week. I don't even fucking play League like that anymore. I'm one of the people that could...
fucking years since I played League. Like, 7 or 8 years since I last played it.
Like, I remember when that shit was running on Windows XP, and it's like, it ran fine, because it was running on the same software that ran Dodo, which was a mod of Warcraft. And then when they updated all the extra shit with 200 years of design, the ultimate question and problem was, how do we get away from the structure that is running in the background since the studio was incepted in 2004? That's all it was. Updating 200 years of design and shit. Anyways.
Taking a brief detour from the conversation. Are you ready to go live? We're gonna introduce who you are.
Yep.
And we're gonna talk, since you're like a really big expert in like gaming and stuff like that.
Yes.
We're gonna talk about how like Gamergate and like that culture started this modern politics bullshit, right?
Yes.
All right.
I'm already live. I already sent out all my things and everything.
Sorry.
It is what it is, baby. I'm rocking with you because you're rocking with me. It is what it is.
Alright, I am live. So, it's GMD. Got a very special guest here, single player Carl. Fellow liberal content creator. So, we libs have to, stay together. Right. And why don't you take a little bit to introduce yourself? Together. Right?
Oh, shit.
And
I'm hearing it.
Why don't you take a little bit to introduce yourself?
Oh, shit. I'm hearing it.
Hey, what's up, one for you? How you doing?
Come from here? I think it's something from here.
Hey, what's up, one for you? How you doing?
Come from here?
Time.
I think it's something from here. I open the webcam and I hear it.
Time.
Share
my screen, so...
I open the webcam and I hear it. Nope. Here, I think I found it. Okay, we're good. Alright, so, hello, hi, I am Corel. I've been on the internet since, technically 2004. I have been able to use a computer since the age of 5, but I didn't become a content creator in the corrective sense until around my graduation year from high school into college. I did go into that briefly on the LAN panel on Wix channel. Basically, I went to school an entirely different person and came out a entirely new person, because I watched everything that I know and love get poisoned overnight, and there was no explanation for what happened. And up until I started becoming a much more avid watcher of all of the, back then it was the skeptics, from 2004 to 2014 to 2017, the entire era of the skeptics. Sorgoy of Applebee's, Shoo, what's her politics and what's her boyfriend's politics, and now obviously the Canadian that sleeps in his bedroom. All of these people and the people around them became the proxy by which most people, and me, myself, also learned about the world. Back when his profile picture was the Overwatch character poster in the back, when it was Dev's older channel art, before he does whatever this rebrand is doing is. And up until then, everything about my worldview has been ingrown from just simply being one of the many legendary ball knowledge havers. and that's just it's entirely predicated on I have witnessed the rise and fall. I've witnessed the rise and fall. I went into it a little bit, referencing some pieces, but that was like the political side of things. The gaming side of things, I was there at the rise of Ben Yahtzee. I was there at the rise of Total Biscuit. I was there at the rise of most of the gaming figures that have now either turned their back on what used to be their original source, or the up and comings of new Vipers that have drawn the lines of who they want to service. Because before, they were for the people, and then immediately once they got the bag and they had to cure the audience for themselves before Susan Wojcicki, Lord her rest her soul, she might have fucked up the website, but dying of cancer, it's horrible. Before Susan Wojcicki fucked up the website, the likes of people like the Yap-In went from, oh, I just had a take about Elden Ring, and look, this guy's being crazy trying to call my mom, to lying to your face and deciding which side of the coin he wants to be on the side of, because that side of Twitter that week happens to be on his side. And all the people in between. That includes Dorsey Twitter and Elon Twitter after he bought the shit. Gaming is supposed to be something that everybody loves. It's certainly something I love. It's what kept me sane, especially during COVID. But what it has become now is the consequences of when attention and economy crosses basic capitalism, this basic, I want to buy something, you want to sell me something, and who can I lie to in the biggest proportions possible to be able to make as much money off of you as I can. The long-standing phrase is sucker is born every minute, and in this era, basically when all of your reach is not based on quantity or quality of work, but who you know and who's saying your name frequently enough for it to stick, all it takes is one person to convince another person that that person is to be trusted. And then you get a bunch of smash JTs. We can talk about it, but I'm going to let you open the floor because I got questions, you got questions.
All right. Well, for people on your stream who are viewing me, my name is GetMoneyDre. I go by... The reason I go by that name is because that was my producer name. I was trying to make it music production, but I took a detour to politics, and I didn't want to change it. I recognized politics before Gamergate and after, and like the rise of Trump and this polarization to the extremes that both sides have got on to an extent. And I feel like this is going to be a problem, if a really even bigger problem than it currently is. It's already been a really big problem. If it's not, fixed, for lack of a better word, right? Because you notice kids when they first get into politics, they either go one extreme or the other, right? You're either a far right trigger, like you got like trying to trigger people or whatever, and then you have the far left people who have these made up pronouns in their bio and dye their hair, and yeah. I feel like that while both are a problem, the far right is worse, but the far left is an issue too, right? The reason why kids choose the extremes is because they want somewhere to belong, and these creators that are feeding into their anger are taking money from people who just want a good life and want to fit in and do right, right? And you see these scammers, these content creators trying to rile up their audience. The Fuentes, the Carlson, even some people on the left like Hassan Piker too as well. I would put him in there, though he's not nearly as bad. He's still a problem. But he's not as bad as the right-wingers, but he's still an issue. We need sane, normal people in politics and political media again. Because even though we had Rush Limbaughs of the past, there's not they're like people, like we had problematic people in the past. It's not like they were the front and center of every single like stage channel, spotlight. The spotlight wasn't on the crazies. It is now, and we need to bring it back to a level of normalcy.
There's definitely a lot in there that I want to touch on. I think the first thing that I'd like to touch on is agree, but then slightly push back, just on the encapsulation of the issue, because it's more than just left and right, because it's degrading in the entire spectrum of the scene.
Oh yeah.
But really, the problem is that we have never seen such a non-androgynous example of how far that spectrum can become. Because now we've got different flavors of right. You've got the whore right, which is also the degen right. You've got the dissident right. You've got the Nazbols that couch most of their language in humor and in jokes that are meant to be self-referential and are meant to be meme magic weaponized, but ultimately is just...
For the audience, could you explain Nazbols for a second?
So, the black sun image that looks like multiple arms of the Hakenkreuz of the German 1945 National Socialist Party arranged in a circle, and it goes around like it's a sun, those are Nazbols.
Yep, I know you're talking about. Okay.
You've seen probably some joke
I have unfortunately against my will seen those.
Like, the most famous one I think I can think of is the K-pop Demon Hunters one, where it's completely colored out blonde hair with forceful blue eyes, where they're staring at the person with indignancy and rage. But there's been various other versions of it. The unironic one, where they're not using anime girls and whatever is topical to try and push a person's buttons to trigger them, because not all of them are actual Nazbols. The actual, real Nazbols. People like Komi Gagnon, for example. I don't know if you know who that is.
I've heard the name. Is he the guy who, I've heard the name. I know I have.
Examinus Consortium?
Yep. The guy who's like a black Nazi, for lack of a better word.
Yes. He was basically the other side of the coin.
I have seen him on the platforms before.
Like,
so yeah.
That person and people like him, those are the individuals that now exist alongside pretty much every person that my chat is rattling off the names of. Not all of them, but a lot of them. So, like, you can put Shu-On-Head in a position from where, unironically, at one point in time, her politics were whatever her boyfriend's happens to be. And then after marrying her current husband and lawyer, Eudaimania Esquire, and having his child, she has now landed somewhere on the position, especially after, in her own words, since Charlie Kirk's murder, the side of, you guys would cheer at me getting murdered for them just simply talking about things you don't like. But then on the other side of that, you've got individuals like Komi Gagnon, and then you have things like the Not Fucking Around Coalition that lives here in my state of Stone Mountain, Georgia, and so does Komi Gagnon too. He's like 3 hours north, near Buckhead and Bankhead, over in like Loganville. He is a guy that runs a window company business, a home window company. I know these details because I literally covered him on my channel. I have a audience participation segment called Versus Chats, and he was one of the topics.
I've been trying to interview him for a little bit. But...
Oh yeah, he's hiding on TikTok right now. Originally, his account name was called Comey. Now it's just the letter F, but it's still the Comey-esque username that he's been using. He's been having TikTok debates. He's been doing the Dean Weathers method to try and build himself. Because if you know anything about Komi Gagnon, you remember that all of those videos on his account, he completely Thanos them. And the reason why is because he was one of the many people that amongst the dissident, at least in like this weird sphere that those people existed in, they were having polls on Twitter, open like 4-man polls on Twitter to vote who should be the leader of their side. And then he gets exposed because people just were making fun of him openly on Twitter. Making fun of him on Twitter, making fun of him on TikTok, exposing his clips, the same way that they were doing it to say people like, say, Pirate Software. And the problem for him is that, unlike other people who usually they're influencers that work for a business and a company, and so they have to protect themselves so they can be able to maintain sponsorships and affiliate codes, he wasn't a legitimate business owner. He DFE'd, which is terminology for deleted fucking everything, or at least tried to. Whatever he didn't delete, or what he didn't leave exposed on his original account, which features his girlfriend, his ex-girlfriend. The woman that's on the featured material, I'll drop a link for it in the chat room because we still have a folder for it because my audience crowdsourced for a lot of these things.
You have a dedicated audience.
a lot of my audience are people who came up on the internet the same way I did.
Shout out Carl's audience. Shout out Carl. Shout out Carl's audience.
I'm
gonna shout myself out during the during the end of it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. But they created an entire thing where they broke down various examples of his material. And on the original Zamnis Consortium website, he took that down. On his original Zamnis Consortium videos, he took those down. Some of the ones that he originally had up that were public that we used to cover his material, he's now privated. I'm pretty sure if you go to his original account, because I'm going to bring it up right now, you can't find it.
I'm trying to see if it's on the internet.
I don't even think he has his account on YouTube public anymore, because some of these links are now dead.
YouTube found not available.
Nope.
I'm trying to find.
I think he's removed it all now. I'm sure you could probably find some screen caps of videos and some reactions to videos. He's taken down almost everything, including his original LinkedIn page, which featured him with a verified account for finances and sales. That I at least saved amongst many of the material. Which let me see if I can get an open image.
I'm not sure if my audience can see, but I am.
Putting it right now in the side chat.
Okay.
The one where it says private chat inside the stream note link. So there's that.
I'm trying to see if I can put it up because I have the Reddit page on when it's examined, but I'm not sure if I can't see your chat. Oh, private chat. I'm sure.
And then here is the link of the polls they would do.
There's the gentleman, Mr. Comey Gagnon.
And for the people at home who want a good picture to look at, here's what Mr. Gagnon looks like currently.
What is your overall opinion of him?
He is what happens when a person tries and fails to do what Nick Fuentes has been successfully, unfortunately, able to do these years. Because everything starts with internet blood sports, unfortunately. The key source of almost all of this is Google+, Google Hangouts, and internet blood sports. The era of YouTube that used to exist before and during the choice where they would bring together people to talk amongst themselves was a world where they would bring people in to basically shoot the shit, and then Nicky the Knife, which is what Nick Fuentes was known back then, would pull out a weapon, no different than, say, this utility knife that I use, and
Nick Fuentes pulled out a knife.
Yep, that's where that nickname comes from, Nicky the Knife. He'd pull out a knife on camera and be like, hey, I'm gonna have to teach you some manners and some lessons there, little buddy. Yeah, I'm gonna show you how things are done.
This is the guy who's gonna lead the Republican Party.
Yep.
Our country is fucking cooked, man. Jesus Christ.
You think that's bad? Look over at Sneaker right now. This man is trying to recreate quintessential clicks from Alex Jones, and he can't do it because he can't stop looking to his chat for validation. But
who is?
Sneeko.
Sneeko, yeah.
Mr. I don't have a personality until I attach myself to my new teacher. That guy. The one who keeps larping at being a Muslim. All of these people, all of these influences, they came from an era where you just, kind of like how Brittany Venti has claimed some of her content, you had to actually be a person with a personality. It didn't matter if the personality was fake, you just had to have one.
These are actors.
Yeah.
These are fucking actors.
You had to
Every single one of these people are fucking actors.
Now, some of them were legitimate, and they believed in the things they believed in. But, back then, you're talking about quintessential Mr. Medicare. You're talking about Jim before the cancer stuck in. You're talking about Jim, who live on camera pulled his now wife because he had the Riz like that. Those were the conversations when people got to know each other. This is where you get into people like, say, not that black guy, some black guy. A lefty, originally called himself liberal, but just ended up becoming a crazy left-wing account who focused on comic books and things like that. Allowing people like Christy Winters and the who's who against them at that time. If you go back to the questions for the left videos that used to be created, all of those creators are in there. It's a big old gaggle of them. If people in the audience know ball, they know their names. They could probably rattle them off faster than usual. One of the examples being people like Christy Winters and Steve Shies, Mr. Block the World, H. Bomber Guy, and a bunch of other people. all those individuals, some who have died on the wayside, literally, or careers have just stalled completely because they no longer have the ability to pull attention because they were a part of the preferential movement back before the 2016 election when they asked for and were given the permission to be the primary sources to fact check things, which is where a lot of their fame and popularity came from. All the other people against them were existing in that same phase. That was the Honey Badgers. That was the who's who amongst the Idpol spear of internet blood sports. That was the Kumite. That was the Killstream. That was the race war Andy Worski era arc when it was the two Worskis, the Asian Andy and the Andy of the Kino Casino of today before he met with Ash of PPP and created the Kino Casino. All of those places, all those people, and people like Brittany Venti, and also people like Molly Yiannopoulos, and Lieutenant Corbis / Soph, and even Vito Gasualti, and Lindsay Ellis before she pulled away after getting her shit pushed in about Raya and the Last Dragon and being confidently wrong and loud publicly. All of these people made their claim and fame before the website and before the internet started punishing people for having the wrong opinions and the wrong politics publicly. Because then it was just as simple as, do you want free healthcare, yes or no? Now it's a ladder list of 100 things, and if you don't want all 100 of those things, they excommunicate you and remove your ability to have resources. People like Comey are what Nick would have been if people would have laughed him out of the fucking room. Because when you see what he has to say, it's no different than what you'd expect from the Not Fucking Around coalition in Stone Mountain, Georgia. The difference there is that, at the minimum, they're black separatists, but they at least put their money where their mouth is. They have the ability to afford homes. This is a person who wants to be famous, but he can't pay the cost of being famous. The first cost is humiliation. The second cost is reach, virality, and attention. And then the third cost is criticism. He couldn't live the first cost, because that would directly affect his money, which is why everything was DFE'd. He's out here on his channel originally. It used to be the case that it was public, but the material that you can still find, which I can drop a link for that for anybody who wants to look at that required reading, because I actually come up in the search results when I look it up.
Drop it. I want to put it to my. I want to put it on my channel. I want people to read. I want.
Maybe
and
people can read it on my channel.
Well, they can watch it. It's a live stream breakdown. But any of the people who want to go watch that as additional side reading from my channel, you would look at Comey Gagnon, the Zamnist Consortium, Negro Off and DFE, a summary, where I banged out in 4 hours a full breakdown of what is the issue with people like Comey. And realistically, what you're looking at there, if you were to watch it, is this is a man who would bring his own girlfriend into his content. The woman that he was doing videos with, where he was like interviewing himself with her, there was two versions. There was one where it's her and him dressed up, and then another one where it's both of them dressed down, and she has her hair down. This is a guy whose entire worldview is, I will date women that are in this very specific, niche, narrow letterbox view of how I see sex, and nothing else. For people like Nick Fuentes, because we know he's gay, but he won't ever admit it, he lives in the box of, I want women that understand the future requires, and then they say the 1488, right? They say the 14 words. But then it's specifically that, but outside of that, I don't know what she likes, I don't know what she wants, I don't know her personal desires, I don't know what lives in her heart of hearts, I don't know what guides me, I don't really seem to have anything outside of this other than the political scene. For Comey Gagnon, I want a girl who wears her hair straight down and doesn't wear it with a bust down, and she's a strong, confident black woman, but she also listens to men, lets men lead, and kind of shuts the fuck up and gets out of the way, but she also gotta have a fat ass. Not joking. These were his exact words from his own post that he put on Twitter. I don't even know if I can find his Twitter right now. But
I love black women with natural hair and fat asses too. In his defense,
like, it's not that crazy if it's like, okay, this is the world that you want to live in personally for you, by yourself in your home. You can have that. You're trying to be the leader of a movement? The leader of a movement? And you're making posts about black crime. I don't fucking care. Okay, cool. The convention victim, that black girl who died at one of these anime conventions. He's making the post about, I don't fucking care if this monkey gets killed over some sort of dumb shit or not. That shit's retarded. Kill that. Stop that. No, you can't leave for nothing. Because those are the kind of optics that completely kill a movement dead in the water. Because then, since a bunch of people got into anime during COVID, they call them hoodweebs. Mainly because all they do is the same thing as ball and gun gamers. Which is, for them, it's shonen battle anime and maybe some ecchi dating harem romance. Not the H-Chata ones that have been sanitized for screen, like School Days. But, you know, things like Mushoku Tensei. They'll watch that. They'll watch the latest episode of Dragon Ball. They'll watch Naruto, but they won't watch Boruto. Just original Naruto and Shippuden. And
I knew a lot of guys like that who also were ball and gun gamers.
Mm-hmm. And they play.
Yeah, it's a typical It's a typical archetype.
Yeah, there's nothing
wrong with that.
There's not even anything wrong with it. But it's like the mentality of the most basic gateway content, and they never evolve past that because they're not interested in that. Because ultimately they're posers. That's an entirely separate conversation too. But those people, they see that, they hear that, and it's like, but we're trying to go to Gen Con. We're trying to go to Green Con. I'm trying to get some big, beautiful black women and jiggle ass. What are you talking about? To them, that's sacrilege. What are you saying? These are the people who you need to be with you. Because if they have anything, they have money.
I wanted to go to DreamCon this year. I wanted to go to DreamCon this year so bad. And it pissed me off because I wasn't able to go because I had some work shit to do. Oh my god. I'm definitely making the next one. I will say that I am definitely making the next one.
Like, in the same breath in which you could criticize people who have come up in the time after, namely FD Signifier, Pillboy, Lil Bill, A Foreign Man in a Foreign Land.
I've watched each one of those guys and their content. I like FD Signifier's content, even though I may not agree with it all the time. I like it. He's a great storyteller, and the people he hires to edit his videos are really talented.
Mm-hmm. Like, I know my enemies, because I am one of his biggest critics, alongside people like him, Anthony Grahamcracker. You're going to hear variations of that dig today. I got jokes. I got them. But, alongside people like that, and Pillboy, and all these other people, and some of the people that are just, all they do is they make video essays. If you want to criticize FD Signifier, you have to admit that the reason he was put on because of people like Khadijah Mabawe. And if these people are anything, they are story time creators. They are designed to tell you about their life and their experiences. The problem I have with him is that he takes his stories about his personal life and then he just starts shitting on people. And I don't just mean him shitting on conservatives or shitting on Republicans. It's him shitting on black people that have differing opinions. And then he couches the words in a way where people who have been critical of my work have said, you're too mean, you're too rude, you use too many words, you're not nice enough. Which effectively what they're saying is, why don't you sanitize your words and be more like him? And the answer is, if I was more like him, I would not be myself. I would be a copy of him. And what I have to say would not be important enough to be said.
I like FD Signifier's content, I do. I get your criticism of him.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. I actually want to bring something else. I'm not sure if you agree with me or not. A lot of FD Signifier's content is catering to white people.
Yes.
Who don't interact with very many black people.
Yes. Let me recall. Were you the individual that I was talking to specifically when you were talking about your history and your background? And I was making... Yes, okay.
You were talking to me.
Mm-hmm. So, do you remember when I asked that question, and one of the biggest people who just sat there dumbstruck was Soy Pill, when I said, tell me what black is? You remember that, right?
Yeah.
Because on that same panel, that was when I said to Tally, don't worry, I'm going to say it with you. And Wick was like, Carl, you're saying that shit a little bit too crisp. You gotta use, like, remove some letters or some shit. God damn. And it made Tally laugh. Those are the people that he makes his content for. He makes his content for people like Soy Pill. Because the word in any concept, we'll use the soft day long G, nigga. The words were not designed for people like Soy Pill to understand without having what I call a media explainer to hold his hand. It's what these kinds of creators specialize in. Some of them, to their degree, they specialize in them wisely. People like Anthony Graham Snacker is a perfect example of it. He is what a lefty CBR reader who would have been at the time making posts and making articles about books, manga, and graphic novels would do if he wanted to talk back to just some guy during, say, the era in which we were looking at the rollout of The Last of Us Part 2. And that developmental kit leak came out. And they were striking down videos of it using that shell company so that they could stop the information from being out there. Not just that people were talking about it, or excuse me, people were showing it, that they were talking about what was in it and the reasons why it's like, oh no, like this man is a fucking hack of a writer. People at that time would have been going to people like him to be the explainer because they wouldn't listen to people like me, they wouldn't listen to people like you, they wouldn't listen to people like Dev, they wouldn't listen to people like Wick. And Wick doesn't strike me as a big gamer, but they wouldn't. They would go to somebody who basically is, hello, fellow kids of the media sphere. That's what we just call and describe transplant rippers. You see a lot of them when it comes to anime. Like that one guy, Tony something Jr. His name's slipping my mind, but his face is ingrained in my memory. He's a black man who basically could be the brother of Andre Meadows, that some black guy comedy. And he wears a mountain lady hat with his swag, and he's one of the first people who comes up on TikTok alongside people like Straw Hat Goofy, who are basically the face of the kind of people that conventions like DreamCon are designed for. You cannot get a better target audience than people like that, because one of the craziest things about any kind of conversation you can have about gaming is that culture is something that you actually have to participate in, but it's also something you experience. And
that's the best part of culture. People can enjoy it together.
And
people talk about it together, they live it together.
Yeah.
It brings people together.
One of the things that I had talked about after that show ended, because I was trying to set up content with Tally, I had told her about it, and she had commented before on the thing that I said on the live, which is that you have to look at African American people and their culture the way that you look at Jewish people. They are an ethno-religious group, whereas blacks are an ethno-cultural group. And the ethno-cultural part is something that you cannot fake. But unfortunately, what we consider to be black requires a form of authenticity that requires experience. Because technically, politically black is one way to read it. Ethnically black is another way to read it. Like, crisp white boy sitting in the dreads, wearing the freshest kit, like his name is something that comes out of the movies of the era, like Love Don't Cost a Thing, or 8 Mile, or the Bring It On films, or Step It Up, or Stomp the Yard. All of those people, that is not something that comes from nothing. The best example I could probably use is the Drumline movie.
Nick Cannon?
Yeah, featuring Nick Cannon, back before he became basically Vegeta, trying to expand his bloodline, having kids nonstop, naming his daughter shit that sounds like a romanization of a person's name. Powerful Queen Cannon? Where the fuck they come up with that shit, Vegeta? But back then, the kind of white boy that you'd expect to be in a film like that allegedly could talk to and could pull a black woman. That one white guy from Eurotrip. I don't remember the name of the actor, but I remember the face of the guy. And if you've seen this film, you know who I'm talking about too, because it's the lanky white kid who pulls the big fat Shaniqua that has sex with him with a condom in the film. People like that are not people who have to fake being in proximity to blackness, because they have to have some inherent level of credibility. That's what makes them respectable. So when I was doing that whole thing where Wick was like, you gotta pipe down a little bit, Carl. I'm like, don't hurt him, white chocolate. That comes from having earned credibility with the black people. So when they say things like,
I've been called white chocolate countless times.
Yes,
white bright, white chocolate, blue eyes, my eyes are green.
Like
white boy,
white chocolate, vanilla and mint, vanilla and sprinkles, white Carlton. Now, I've gotten Carlton, period, obviously, for obvious reasons. All these things are terms of endearment. And one of the main things about it is that a cultural mark of being in proximity to black culture is to turn...
Lil White. They call me Lil White a lot.
Yeah. Lil White's a good one, too. Um, in being in proximity to African American culture and blackness is to take an insult and create it into a term of endearment, because it is a shit test. It is one of the most basic shit tests that people do, which is basically see, is this person uptight? Can I push their buttons, and can I push the buttons enough that it's like an easy laugh button? You know those buttons that used to sell at Staples where you slap them and it's like
you,
that
you,
was
you need to be able to take the joke, like roasting culture, like people like roast each other, like
oh yes,
you have to get at each other, like you can't like be too much of a bitch, right?
Like that early era of MTV, back when they would have all the reality shows. Number one on the screen, Will Vamarama, Yamama, entire roast competitions being hosted by celebrities.
Yeah, those were I was a kid watching those. Those were a time. I was a baby watching those, but those were those were a time.
The entire culture requires three kinds of people. It requires people like Active Signifier. It requires people like myself, and it also requires people like GetMoneyDre or people like Pillboy. Pillboy, I don't think he's ever shown his face. I don't think he ever will. But he's the kind of video essayist that basically writes how the example that I criticized him and FD Signifier collectively on a 3-hour video of was about how you should basically silence yourself, turn over your culture, and let black femmes lead. And for people like that, the idea that most people have is that the blacks have a vibe, and that the men of the culture live the vibe, whereas the women of the culture like the ideas and the themes of the vibe. Because it's just a projection of the Longhouse. In that big-ass village that they say that it takes to create and make children, the men are the ones that are the frequency and the lifeline of the culture, and the women are the ones that decide the attenuation. So for them, where African-American, Mexican, and Brazilian men are just going to always be sucked towards battle anime and Dragon Ball, the women might like the vibe that Dragon Ball has, but they're going to more than likely go in the direction of something more like Fruits Basket, or OM High School Club. Or if you're a person like Noralities, so if you're a black femme, Revolutionary Goro Utena. Because for them, they like the vibe that it gives them, which is why you're going to find men being ball and gun gamers, but then you're going to find the women playing cozy games. It's just the attenuation of how they work.
The women typically play stuff like or socialize into like Animal Crossing or Pokopia, stuff like that. And you see the men usually playing 2K or sometimes like 2K and COD, Madden, sometimes FIFA, sometimes Fortnite.
It really depends on what they have the ability to afford.
I will say this, that women typically branch out more when it comes to video games.
They become the social gate upon which other people then enter into the culture. So the way that it works is that you tell your friends about a new person who wants to be in the group, but then it's like, hey, you gotta meet my girl though. And the reason why is because your girl then tell her girlfriends to do research on this guy, and before you know it, they've given you an FBI dossier about this guy's background. It's like, oh, he doesn't like Latina women, he drinks coffee on Wednesdays, and he likes to go for yoga on Fridays, and he said the N-word 5 times in his life, but only 4 of them were legal. Watch him. That's how they do. That is how they do. That is how the social culture has always been. That's been the same amongst all of them, but African Americans more so, because they are very aware. They're hyper-vigilant, I should say, against posers. They don't have a problem with people being in a proximity. Now, I say that, and I'm saying that in the sense of, like, normal people. People who aren't watching us right now. The normies don't care about the people who are in proximity to whiteness. We're in a post-Modern Warfare 2 original era. We're outside the era of the quest of hate mail in Dark Souls, and the infinite COD voice trolls like Minnesota Burnsy. I don't know if you know that person, or people like that, but that's like, that's a very big throwback. Like, very, very big throwback to the days where a person would go on to the internet and basically troll on the microphone, trying to get people to be very upset on the mic, get the parents on.
Oh,
you know,
I've seen plenty of people do that. Yeah.
But like, we're far past that era. Now we're in the era of, if you play Marvel Rivals, I'll use the example.
I do play Marvel Rivals.
You will find people like Quad beefing with people like Raijin, And you have them going back and forth, not about who fed who in what ranked lobby, who was griefing who at an event, or talking shit behind the scene, or doing things for money. No, they go back and forth about whose family was getting doxxed inside TikTok comments. That's what that community does actively. I have other opinions about people like Quad.
Fucking crazy.
But that's the era we live in now. And it's ironically funny because that's the same era in which we left when almost all of us, and you did, don't you lie to me, don't shake your head and say, I've never played League. Yes, you did. You played it at least once. You played it at least once in a bot match with your friends.
I played at least once. I played League when my older, fully Caucasian stepbrother showed me the fucking game, and we played together.
Mm-hmm. Like for some people, it was them growing up and being a kid, and they were watching it, and they were very into the teams that were very big in seasons 1 through 5, which is what most people remember.
I was born. I'm not sure how old you are, but I was born in 2000. I'm 26. So what I learned League around 2013, 14 ish. Like that's when I played it at first. I played sporadically, in later years. Last was like 2018, I think. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's when I wanted to play League. It was so big, everyone was playing it. It was one of the games that even casual gamers or ball and gun gamers were playing.
Mm-hmm. Like all those things speak to social culture, and a lot of the ways in which you were able to get a lot of overlap between groups was like finding something that everybody did, and that was one of the games that everybody played.
Everyone, there's always been a particular cultural event where everyone participated because it was the in versus out. Around the time I was born, but before, like a little bit before I was born, was Pokemon. I'm not sure if you see me back there. Mm-hmm. The whole Pokemania situation was ridiculous. I got into Pokemon after it was like the whole Mania thing happened because obviously I was a little bit too young for that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I actually like Eevee as my decoration. I'm gonna keep it there for now on when it comes to streams and stuff like that. But
I got the Totodile right there.
Oh shit!
I was hanging on top of a
poster.
poster.
That's it. No, yeah.
Hanging on top of the poster of Pokemon the first movie. And my bed sheet's not here, but my bed sheet has Kyogre and Feraligatr on it. I don't know where they are.
What was the first Pokemon game you played?
Yellow. Pokemon Yellow.
Yellow. Mine was Emerald. Actually, no, mine was Ruby. Mine was Ruby. My brother got Sapphire, and we traded when we were done with the games because we thought they were two different games.
I still have my original case that it came in. I use it to store things now.
And I have the Eevee plush that is bigger than Eevee canonically is. For those of you in Carl's audience watching. I have the
original coverage that it came in. I wasn't planning on talking about the physics, but Pokemon's actually a pretty good example for us to build the conversation from.
It is.
Have a sing on top of it?
Eevee's gonna stay here from now on, so
I have the original Pocket Monster, not the Pokemon featured one, but the original Game Boy Color Pocket Monster container that came with the Game Boy Color. And inside of it, alongside apparently my copy of Pokemon Silver,
I played Crystal later
many
years on ROMs, but I didn't
copies of GBA games, like 19 and 1, because your parents can't just get you what you asked for. Like, why would you want to get one game? You can get 19 games on one cartridge. Thanks, Mom. Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, one of the most slept-on games in existence, but it was better when it was on PS2. And then, right, y'all, my original copy of
Pokemon Yellow.
And you can see there on top of it, if you really look close, where I covered it with pink crayon so that nobody else would touch it, because pink equals icky equals girls, which means they don't touch my stuff.
That's what happened.
I don't know what the hell Carl was thinking back then, but he was on something. And I've got a bunch of other tech stuff in here that isn't necessary or relevant. But oh yeah. And then of course the actual ship-launched Game Boy Color with more of the pink.
So you were like 5, 6, 7 when you bought that, right?
Hold on, I can't hear you. I don't have the headset on.
My bad. Go ahead. Do that.
What was that?
You were like 5, 6, 7 years old when.
Oh yes,
I
yes,
had that.
exactly.
Okay. I was like 2 when I first played Pokemon. I was 2 years old. My mom just got to a new house, right? And she bought me and my twin brother Game Boy Advances with a copy of Ruby and a copy of Sapphire.
Mm-hmm.
I first got Ruby, my brother first got Sapphire. We played it, then we traded it, then we played it again. We traded games because we thought there were 2 different fucking games.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not a bad assumption to make because technically they were, but they're not. But only
That's
for
how
reasons
all
capable-
Pokemon releases are. I had to explain to my mom in later years that one game, there's similar games. We gotta get, my brother gotta get one, and I gotta get the other, so we can like do like trade and catch them all because there's game exclusive monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes she got it, sometimes she didn't. Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like that entire era of existence is like very quintessential to like core Black memories, because that's basically like the sorting hat of the inner city urbanite. Once you get games like that, like Kingdom Hearts, for example, Kingdom Hearts is a really good barometer of exactly how that was for the African American and for people who are living in the suburbs. If you got a launch edition of the PlayStation 2, if you got the fatback, or if you were a cheap person, so you had to wait to get the slim, whether it was the black or the silver. I bought the silver. You basically had to choose if you liked JRPGs right then and there. Because for the African American, it was various different versions of games. I know for my siblings, it was like this game called The Blitz, which is basically a football game, but you could injure people, and part of the game.
my cousin had that game, and we played that shit. I wasn't even into I didn't even know shit about football at the time, but I like the fact that I could just beat the crap out of people.
Yeah.
We went to whenever family reunion. We went to his house. We played fucking NFL Blitz, and we did that shit. Me, my brother, and my cousin, we played on the same team, trying to beat the shit out of the other team. Best core memories in gaming. Mm-hmm. That was one of my biggest fucking memories in the entire game.
Mm-hmm. Like the PlayStation 2 was basically the sorting hat of the African American and African American Black vernacular culture. I'm trying not to say variations of the hard R, so I'm going to say the Ebonics culture. You decided if you liked JRPGs because that meant that you got either Final Fantasy X or some other JRPG like Magic Arena. You decided that you liked new titles of 2K, because then of course you had various levels of 2K. That
get the
FIFA, wrestling games. It would have been WWF back then, but well, Nintendo 64 would have been WWF.
FIFA wasn't widely released in the States at that time, man.
No, it was not. Not unless you had a parent that went overseas. I had a naval father, so he'd bring the games back. But
my mom works with the army, so she went overseas. She was a nurse with the army. And I got FIFA because I got FIFA earlier than most other people than everyone else in most people in my neighborhood or my school. So they didn't play FIFA. They know very little about FIFA.
Yeah, it would have been Madden for most people. If it wasn't something like the Blitz or some obscure sports game that they played, like Mario Golf, it would have been something like that. And then for every person that was specifically like right there at the cusp of getting into anime, but they weren't really deep in it enough, like they were already region locked at this point, so they wouldn't have seen things like that. They would have had to gone down one of 3 routes. They would have had to gone down the route of either Phantasy Star, Star Ocean, or Kingdom Hearts. And for most people,
Kingdom Hearts.
It was going to be definitely Kingdom Hearts. And by the time
people pick Kingdom Hearts,
because if they didn't already love Final Fantasy, like if they were a fan of it, because back then they cared about products, so they had backwards compatibility. If they weren't already playing Final Fantasy VII or Final Fantasy VIII, because most people skipped 9. They were playing Final Fantasy X, and they were getting a memory card from one of their friends that already had the Albed language saved, so they could get the translation bonus of understanding what the Albedian language was saying in those cutscenes. And then if they had an international version of the game, they were playing against Penitents, but at that point it's like grinding, so they're not really interested in that.
But then, if they had Kingdom Hearts, it's like, okay, I play the game for like 50 hours, and now I'm sitting here hard grinding for my Infinity Crown in the first version of the game, not the final mixed version of the game. That they wouldn't get that for like what, another 12 years. But that's what they chose.
Around that, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know the exact date.
Yeah, that's what originally would have chosen. And for most of those people, once they got into that, it was off to the races to be a weeb, because then they became a fan of all of the things that were popular at that time. And at that time, it would have been Shonen Jump. It would have been Shaman King. It would have been the censored version of 4Kids One Piece. It would have been 3-4 different installments of Yu-Gi-Oh! Maybe some Duel Masters. Maybe some Battle Beat 'em On, or one of those other toy-based franchise shows that they would have shown between Disney, Cartoon Network, and Nickelodeon. Definitely Beyblade. Original Beyblade.
Oh, no. When Beyblades hit the schoolyard, people, they hit fast. Everyone had, like, they hit like that. Like, it was...
Crack! In the 90s.
It was like crack in the 80s and 90s. Even if you didn't really like it, you had one.
Yeah.
You had one.
Yeah.
Both boys and girls played in my school. I'm not sure how other schools were the same, but both boys and girls had them in my neighborhood school.
Somewhere in this room is a magnetic core, and I do remember when I had one of those plastic dome stadiums, I had a plastic electronic light-up Dronzer. Just because I happened to own the Nintendo GameCube edition of Beyblade. And it was a very decent game with very decent mechanics, because it also got me into things like Custom Robo. And games like that haven't been on these platforms since. But, bring it back in. These things were the sorting hats for how everybody got into shit. Because if they weren't already playing the first-person shooter games on those platforms, they would have chosen that as what would have then brought them now into things like Warframe. Because either they're still playing COD, and they're just playing the newest edition year after year, playing it at just like
some people do.
Some people.
Like I know the ball and gun gamers, like the ball and gun gamers in my school. Yeah, in my high school they still play the new COD. Like when I keep up with them, it's been a while, but sometimes I hear things, like I see things on like Instagram or Snapchat or whatever, and yeah, people are still buying the newest COD, even though it's not as much as. I bought the Black Ops 2 port. The multiplayer's fucked. I haven't had the fucking chance to play online multiplayer with my friends on Black Ops 2 for the PS5, but.
But it's like, in those points, they would have gone between whichever one brought them to where they were. And those were like very formative core memories for a lot of those people, especially African Americans. And the honest reason is because those games are cheap. That's the honest reason. It's the same reason why you have a lot of African Americans that are part of the FGC. What's a game that gets dumpstered the moment the newest title comes out? Fighting games. What's going to be cheapest in the rack inside the same bin that they put the dollar movies? Fighting games.
Fighting games.
That's why I have that 1901.
If it's not like, I mean, technically the latest sports games get thrown at the top too, but
they do. Like, for me, the game that I cared about
even more so, actually.
Yes,
but I'm not sure if you ever played like 2K or Madden or anything. Like
I did. I was not a fan of it, but it was because I actually played real basketball, and all the people that were playing basketball with me in those games.
I did too. Yep.
They were.
Yep. I played high school and college basketball, so yeah. No, you're on the basketball team. You play 2K by default. You need to buy 2K. No option. You play it. You're in a football team. Play Madden. Soccer team. FIFA.
Like, for me, because I was actually playing the game and on a team, it was like, these people are talking trash because they play this game religiously, because when they go home, they don't have extracurriculars. When I go home, I have extracurriculars and homework. So it's like, stop talking trash and put it on guard right now, center of the court. I was a point guard. These people could not shake my ankles. Ho, 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 green giant, crack! Oh, I guess you're going to have to sit on the court.
My team was really good in high school. I was on a really good high school team. So I was towards the end of the bench. I was a fan favorite and got in very early. Same thing with college. I didn't get much playing time. I was good. I'm better than the average person. I could hold my own against the average person. I could grab the rim when in my prime. I'm 5'5". I could almost dunk.
Yeah.
in my prime, but I can't now. I can still beat the average person in the game of basketball. I'm not like a scrub or anything, but
But it's like,
anyway,
for all those people, or it's like they're talking mad trash while they're playing this game. It's like they couldn't do the action IRL, and especially with fighting games. Oh boy, you want to talk about?
everyone thinks fighting is the most. Everyone thinks they can fight in real life. Great, let's see you fight.
Like for
And people don't know how to fight. Most people who say they can fight can't fight for shit. I used to be one of those people.
Mm-hmm.
I could.
Go ahead.
I did amateur boxing for a few years after basketball ended. Like, what the hell am I gonna do? So I did some amateur boxing. I did sparring. I trained. This shit is hard.
Do you have siblings?
Not easy.
I
have siblings.
Do you have male siblings?
I have 3 brothers. They're all. One of them is a twin, but they're all older than me, and they all are bigger than me. They're all, even adult-wise, they're all taller than me.
Do you remember that age where whatever it was about, even if it was over something fucking stupid, you were fighting like prime Goku Vegeta? Do you remember those days?
Yep, I do. I remember fighting him. I remember fighting my brothers over the most stupidest shit. The thing is, he couldn't fight either. So if you're just fighting each other, it was prime Goku Vegeta, but
like
it seemed like it.
Yeah, like you're in the supermarket having a slap.
Neither was he.
Yeah.
You know, I was fighting shit. My mom was like, "Y'all stop it, or you ain't get dinner tonight."
Mm-hmm.
We didn't stop, and we didn't get dinner that night.
I feel like
shit, we went to bed hungry.
I feel like when it came to the African Americans,
we'd sleep for dinner.
Especially when it came to Tenkaichi.
My mom was white, by the way.
That's fine.
I will point that out. My mom was white.
That's all good. But I feel like when it came to the African Americans, especially when it came to Tenkaichi Budokai 1 through 3, oh my lord, the entirety of the Saiyan saga to the entirety of the end of the Buu saga, before people understood what mystic form was, and they just called it an accelerated, upgraded form of Super Saiyan 2 for Gohan. That entire era for black people, so many people eventually became fighting experts despite have never put on
fighting
or
fighting experts. Yeah, you see that all the time. You still see it. Mm-hmm. You still see people saying, "I think I can fight." Right, fight. I think people think they can fight. They watch anime and it makes them want to fight. Mm-hmm. Myself included. Mm-hmm. Myself included. I'm no different. I watch an episode of DBZ and I think I'm fucking Prime Goku. Right. Mm-hmm. I'm not Prime Goku. I can't go Super Saiyan. But
especially if you're like a younger sibling, because it just so happens to be the case that both of us are the youngest of our families. The times where I can remember very clearly every time I fought my brother. Every single time I fought him, including the time where I put a hole in the wall, and then him and I are sitting on the side of our street in our old ancestral home, where one of our neighbors, who happens to be a police officer, is like, "Don't make me come out of here in my boxers again, or I'm going to send both you two down to the station, and we're going to try both of you as adults." I remember every single time I would fight things like that, and I don't know if it's core written into black culture. And I'm not talking about, like, the scientific study about the specific, like, strain of protein that our bodies don't make that stop us from being able to inhibit our violence, which is a very real thing, mind you, very real. If I asked my friend Rebecca, aka Aiden Paladin, Aiden with a Y, not Aiden Underground, Aiden Paladin, to give me a data heuristic breakdown of it, I'm sure she'd have a fun 15 minutes breaking that shit down, because she cracks that shit out like a fucking computer. If I'm talking about the kind of violence is inherent to the black culture, where you always feel like if you say the wrong thing, you're going to start hearing the drums. For me, it's saxophones. For you, it might be Freebird. For another white guy that happens to like have a spiritual Neo Soul Sister mom or like a Flower Child white woman, it's probably Fleetwood Mac's Tusk, the reinvented version, where you can hear the drums in the background real loud.
I know this. I know you're thinking. I know what you think we're saying the saxophones. Mm-hmm. I know. You hear. You just like. You know. Like I'm not sure. Like how many parties you've been to,
A lot.
but whenever you see a promotional flyer, leave the beef at home parties. They do anything besides leave the beef at home. People bring their drama there. They bring all of their problems there, and they think that a social gathering with a bunch of people is going to be the appropriate place to, fight and sometimes shoot things out.
Like,
I'm not sure how much experience you have
a lot.
with.
Way too much.
Okay.
Way too much. In white neighborhoods, they did not do that often because their parents knew each other. But in black neighborhoods where nobody has any relationship with anyone, oh yeah, there are some primary mating calls amongst African Americans that you learn to.
I don't go to white parties, by the way. I don't hang around too many white people. I do that on purpose, by the way. I don't hang around too many white people. The most white people I ever talked to for a long period of time was on the WIC panels. So.
But like, as a person who comes from the culture, you definitely know there are some very specific sounds, like mating calls for birds, that tell you whether or not you are in immediate danger. The number one to look out for is, I bet! That's time to leave. That's time to leave. Another key one, so what you talking about? Or, my primary favorite, oh, you finna show me something? That means somebody has some shit that didn't finish, and they have brought it to resume. It's like a quick save for cultural indifferences. It started at school, now it's about to happen at the black party, and maybe if it's really, really, really ghetto, they bring it to graduation night.
My school wasn't that, but I did hear of other schools that had that. But no, my school was. Let's say there were women who or girls who fought in their pajamas, the Cookie Monster pajamas, and one girl who always eats Takis. I know you had the Taki. I know like either it was Takis or hot chips or some sort of spicy snack.
Oh, I got them right here. 1 second. We can break it down right now.
I know some sort of spicy snack that someone had. And those girls could always fight. Usually in their bonnets. They usually wear their bonnets. 7 a.m.
7 a.m.
Fight another girl.
Yep. 7 a.m. Come to class. They don't have their hair done, so they're still wearing
like this.
Yep.
Square up like head that. Yep.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Come to school. 7 a.m. Still wearing the fucking silk bonnet with the pink fucking frame. Always wide brim. Never the short frame, because that actually leaves marks on the hair. Can't see the baby hairs. And I got all the snacks right here. If they were actually in proximity to Asian marketplaces, it was nori snacks. If they were at the real Asian marketplaces, they were buying things like hard catfish jerky. If they were just the basic bitch, they were eating hot chicharrones.
Oh yeah, hot spice.
Or I forget where the bag went.
Some of them hot chips, hot fries, hot chips,
fries, hot popcorn.
Hot popcorn. Yep.
And then a variation of...
Oh, I remember skipping school to buy the fucking Mike and Ike's hot pop. I remember skipping school to buy that shit. Okay. And a lot of my girlfriends, like female friends, we would share shit together. Sometimes we were so broke, like like a group of us, like boys, girls, like a group of people, go together, bought snacks, shared the shit. One person, Mike and Ike's, another person, hot fries. Sometimes Takis, the blue Takis especially. Those were always the most bots.
Takis were a new invention to my generation at the time, but we eventually learned that it was like a much harder to chew corn chip, because it's like if you take a tortilla chip and you roll it and then put dust on it, which they weren't very big for that. They preferred.
It was really big in my era when I was in high school. They were really big with us.
And then of course, your gummy candy, things that are sour. It's reversed on the camera, so it's hard for people to read. You got your Jolly Rancher variations. Then,
I do want to talk to you a little bit after for completely something a little bit unrelated.
Yep, that's no problem.
After we're live, I do want to talk to you a little bit further.
Okay, that's no problem. And of course,
let me know when you're. Okay.
Yeah. And then of course you have the hot tamales, tropical hot heat.
Yep.
They put the spices on it. And then the ones that I'm chewing on right now, where I got one box left, the Mike and Ike's blue raspberry. Anything blue raspberry. I don't know.
Blue raspberry, blue Takis, blue fucking hot chips. They had blue hot chips when I was in high school. But
yeah, like there's
Oh my
quintessential core memory things that are just like, put this in proximity to a person, and you're gonna find out real quick whether or not they come from the Bronx, whether or not they come from a hard-hitting neighborhood. Because for them, it's like, I can get like 10 boxes of those for $10, and I got $15 in my wallet. And if I go down to the chicken store, then I can get me an a la carte chicken breast for at least $5. So I just gotta get $2 out of somebody. Hey, yo, man, let me hold $1.
you never get that dollar back, by the way. You never get that dollar back.
Nope, never get it back.
I had one of my homeboys was exactly like that. Hey, bro, can you have $1? Hey, bro, let me hold 10. The thing is, like, he didn't, like, obviously, I sometimes gave him money, sometimes didn't. But no, he had my back in other ways, too. Okay, I don't want to say anything that might get me in trouble.
What?
But one time, he stole some weed from this guy in one of his neighbors, and he gave it to me. Hey, bro, happy birthday. My birthday's in April. This was in October, so it's like a half birthday type shit. It was like a sack full of weed. We never spoke about it since.
That's smart.
That's the best half birthday gift I ever got to this day.
Somebody's looking for that shit. But yeah.
And now, what's he doing now? He's couch surfing and has 3 kids to take care of. But
That's fortunate.
in a different state with one of his cousins in down south. Has 3 kids he didn't see. I wish him well.
That's one of those situations where a friend is like, bro, you might be my ride and die, but you need to clean yourself up. And usually those kinds of friends can go one of 2 ways. The moment they tell you they got a girl pregnant, it's like, this man is either going to transform himself and become a rent office man, or I'm going to see your lazy bum onto my couch 3 times out of the month. All of this to quintessentially say, when I'm quantifying soy pill, when I was quantifying and qualifying what black is, everything we just discussed, that is black.
Everything.
Of course, like, you can't fake those experiences.
I'm not the gatekeeper or authority on.
Nah, that's all black people.
That's
horrible.
Someone who's full. That's someone who's 100% full. You know, like. I grew up like I grew up around all sorts of people. My neighborhood growing up was predominantly black. I got bused to an elementary school which was mostly white. I went to a middle school that was also mostly white, and I got to a high school that was very diverse. There were white people, black people. It was like a third. So third black, third Mexican, third white.
Realistically, to bring us in so that we don't get lost. The people who are supposed to be the gatekeepers and the arbiters of blackness only is supposed to be limited to like the insular group that you're trying to become a part of. In modern society, if you really want to talk to black women, if you want to date women that choose to spend an hour to 3 hours to get ready for a date,
I would love that. Yep.
That's a choice you can choose to make. Any more so than you can learn to love avocado toast and talk to women who might be $2 or $3 out of the price range of your normal dating queue. Nobody can stop you. Live! Get some head! Live! But if you want to fit into the dynamics that come into that, let's say, for example, you wanted to go right now to an AMC church, or whatever particular church happens to have a very large black population. Just in your mind, make the most generic version. Yeah, just make.
There's a few I've been to. There's a few.
For those that are playing the home version, just make the most generic version of black church that you can think of between a Tyler Perry film and a comedy film from 2004. Okay? If you want to enter into the annals of that environment, there is a rule that you have to follow. And that is that you have to understand that the same way that people will feel about entering into a space that they feel uncomfortable, that is also the same thing happening to you as you step past the echelon of the frame of both reference and culture that you're in. The word I'm going to teach you here is what we call door stopping. So, when you hear the word gatekeeping, it should be obvious what that means. I am keeping the gate. Carl, what does door stopping mean? What does a door stop do to a door? Does it hold the door open? Yeah, it stops the door, it holds it open, and if you're a person who's both gatekeeping and door stopping, you are a bouncer. You decide who comes in, who comes out. And many times, especially in all the memes that exist to this day amongst other memes, where they basically say to you, "Hey, you all right, white boy?" That is what the door stopping culture.
I know the exact photo that people use, the reaction photo people use. You all right, white boy?
Like, that is what that culture looks like. And to bring it back to the people who make that shit, that is what they exist to basically do on a cultural level. Now, in social groups where it's like you're a teenager and you're in high school and you're trying to make friends with black people, you might have to get punched in the mouth like one good time. Like once. Get into a fist fight, you hold your ground, you take a good sucker punch to the left side or right side of your face, but you stay on your feet and you're still standing, and you're just basically like, "I hear no bell." And they'd be like, "You know what, you got moxie, you got spunk, you alright, white boy." And then the doors come flying open. Oh, black church, a little bit different, because now you're speaking about a formal situation. The likelihood that you come across a person's family is very high and likely, especially if it's the aunts and uncles of the sisters and brothers.
It's usually the grandparents, aunts, uncles, the whole family's there.
Like,
everyone's there.
In those situations, if it's not even sometimes the parents, it's the brothers and the sisters that are the aunts and the uncles to the parents that are also responsible for you. If the aunt or the uncle doesn't like your vibe, you're not getting in. You might be in the same building, you might be in the same room, you might clink and position just, especially if they happen to have meals after the service, but you are not coming over to their house. You can be friends with the children, you can be a biller in the community, you can donate $50+ every single time you go to church, but you ain't stepping foot in their house because they don't trust you. And the reason why they don't trust you,
you have to learn how to talk to the older folks too, as well.
Yes.
As well as, your peers your age, stuff like that.
Yes. Like, you can't, they don't trust you.
I'm pretty good at that.
Yeah, they don't trust you inherently. I pull on the example of, say, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the relationship between the character that was being played by Don Cheadle and the relationship that Will had to him and Uncle Banks Uncle Phil, rather. That Uncle Phil told him about. About how. Go ahead.
You finish.
Yeah, it was the relationship that the character that was like the very old school black friend that Will had, that was played by Don Cheadle. I'm forgetting the name. It's not Jazzy Jeff. It's another character that was a guest star role for Don Cheadle, where Uncle Phil told him that this boy is not good for you and he's not good for your life, because he was representative of the old life they came from. Because there are two specific episodes. There was the one with Will's father, which is the world famous "Why Don't He Want Me?" But then there was also the example of this friend that represented the street life that Will came from, that put him in the scenario that was the premise for the show.
Yep.
You have to.
Yep.
Yeah.
The guy's name was Trey, I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
Trev or Trey. One of those two things.
Trey, that he was trying to talk to Hillary, and unlike Jazz, he was successful.
Like, those are the situations where the reason they don't let you in their house is because that's how people steal from you. That, straight up, that's the answer. I never understood that answer for a very long time until I got stolen from. And it wasn't because of somebody I invited over. It's somebody that my sibling invited over. Because they stole something critical to me, which was my games.
Oh, yep. Oh, my God. I remember, oh, fucking hell. One of my cousins stole my Heart Gold, my Pokemon Heart Gold copy. And I still am fucking pissed about that shit. He denies it to this day, but I still remember stealing my Heart Gold. I had so much shinies, few level 100s, and I was fucking 10 years old at the time. Okay? I was trying to build a competitive team for the video game championships that year. I was saving money to travel from the Midwest to, I'm not sure where they were that year. I think they were in Cali, but I could be mistaken for something else. But they were not. They were a few states away, right? A few states away. I still remember that.
Like for me,
he will never admit it, but I know it was him who stole my fucking heart gold. I never got it back. All that gone.
For me,
and that was my favorite. That was my favorite game to play ever. Pokemon Heart Gold and Silver.
like for
That was
me,
my favorite. That's still to this day my favorite Pokemon. I still don't that shit. My apologies. Go ahead.
It's all good. You're good. Get it up. That's what we want. Like love expression. You don't.
I was
don't
gonna
hide.
fight something, but I don't want to hit Eevee over there. So.
No, don't hit the child. But for me, it was a very large amount of my games because as a child that grew up with Wildcats in my house, I had the gaming peripherals because I had the game stand that you put the GameCube on top of. It had the wing sides that folded out, and you could put the games inside of it. Motherfucker just lifted it up, stole it. And the disc that was in, well, actually, no, they stole the disc in the PS2 and all the games around the PS2 and the wires to the PS2, but they left the PS2. Like, if you don't steal my shit, can you steal all of it? Now I can't even play my shit right now until I get new wires and cords. And for me, it was upsetting because not only was it a day in which my parents told me I could not lock my door. That's another thing you can't do in black people's houses, which is lock doors, especially if you're the children. That's an entirely separate conversation we can have later. But it was something that happened not because somebody I invited over, somebody my sibling invited over. They had full access to my home, and it's like I could feel it through the gamer vibes. Somebody was touching my things. And when I came back home and saw that, because I didn't pull my door fully closed when I locked it, because I had a way to unlock my door, but it's like, I'm gonna make it look like it's not locked, even though I didn't fully shut it, because I didn't break the rules. This got me fucking taken for like nearly $750 worth of shit. And it was really annoying, because I paid for that money with money that I made over summer vacations. I worked for it. I slaved for it, which made it that much more. No, I did not, but I got the person back who stole it. Because they also stole other things from us. They stole specific memorabilia that belonged to my mother. I got that stuff back because I happened to have been working at the time as a civil servant with the government, which led into my career as a Fed. But I never got my things back because
he probably sold them since.
Yeah, like I was able to,
that's very common.
I found the receipts that they sold them to the pawn shop to get the money from, so I could never get the games back, never get the memory cards back, never get the controllers back, and it's like
all that time wasted.
Yeah,
gone.
Like
gone.
These days now, I can emulate all
my
these
Pokemon
things.
VGC team with my special attacking Blissey. Gone.
Like I could now emulate all the things that I've lost and play on a Dolphin emulator. But it's the whole. It was the sting of the fact that I worked for it with my blood, sweat, and tears, which is the same shit that happens when a guy crashes out when his girlfriend deletes his my player profile. Like I worked for that shit. I slaved.
I see those reactions, and I see the reactions of a girl throwing this guy's PS4 in the pool, just to get him a PS5. But she's surprised that he's not happy that she got him the PS5.
Because like the entire there's a whole.
I had to explain to one of my girlfriends why, like my female friends, one of my female friends, why that was such. Like she's like he got him the new one. Like she was like she got him the new one. Why is he complaining? I had to explain the concept of time wasted. This guy probably worked hard to get virtual coins for his My Player, to cook people in my park, and then all that's gone.
Like,
and he brought, why is she not happy? Like, that's the blood, sweat, and tears. Unfortunately, that doesn't transfer. I'm not sure if I haven't played 2K since 2K20. So I don't know if they have like a transferability thing now. I really don't know.
I'm sure that there's probably some like out of game setting where it saves to like a global stat screen that can be logged into from your PSN control. But because I know they do that with Nintendo.
I know at the time they did not do that.
Yeah, at the time if it was like something like from the PS3 era, no, your shit's gone, bro.
is beyond.
But like, yeah, my Nintendo for Nintendo games, they do this. They do save your data, but they save like the fact that you purchased the digital game. If it's something that is not saved to the cloud, like if you have the online copy versus a physical copy with a physical cartridge, or a virtual copy with the physical memory on the system there, that's just gone. And it's heartbreaking because something that we can harvest out of this part of the conversation is that for blacks, the need for social proof is as important as history and time and
I know the need. Yup. The need for social proof. You need to say that you did this, and have witnesses attest to the fact that you did said thing. Otherwise, you're just talking out your ass. You're full of shit. No one believes you.
Mm-hmm.
You're like the drunk guy on the corner, fucking drinking, saying that he was all state and all conference in high school for this. Which there are a few guys my age that were all state,
like
all conference.
It's
One guy made it to the NFL, but he's fucking broke now.
Mm-hmm.
So again, social proof's the thing.
It's like,
And the one guy just screaming things. He like the crazy guy, like one of the crazy guys somebody I knew who made the NFL, who is broke now. He actually did these things. He actually did said things, but like he's just talking out his ass in the corner, and he's by himself, so no one believes him. So it's like if he didn't do said things.
yeah, it's like in the black culture, black hashtag TM Tradestark. It's like having a person that, as a storyteller, effectively is also collaborating with you as the person who tells people of a folk hero. Like, this is Carl from Compton. This is not Carl from around the way. This is Carl from Compton. This is the guy who says what he means and means what he says. And they're the ones that legitimize you in the face of that group. Because if it's not the women who are investigating the resource, it's gonna be the thousands and thousands of male and female cousins through your one best friend or friend of the social group, probably the jokester, who's going to vet it himself. Because word travels fast, as does connections and reputation. And blacks love reputation because if you can recognize
Reputation is everything.
yeah, if you can recognize the person,
It's basically currency.
Yeah.
You recognize someone, good as new city, right? I went when me and one of my homeboys, one of my bestest friends growing up, the dude who has 3 baby mamas, doesn't do shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
I visited him in a different city. I'm from the Midwest. I visited him in the South. I'm sort of like Terrence mixed-ish. Like, some people can recognize me as white, black, whatever. There I'm white. In the said city, I am white as fucking snow, right? It's like, oh, there I'm white. Boy, like so and so's from back in the day that fuck with so and so. Like that's your homie, right? Yeah, like I didn't know these guys, but like we became cool because he told them about me, so like they had some level of familiarity. Oh, you did this, you did that, like, and then we talked about that, and that turned to an hour-long conversation. Mm-hmm. Oh, you beat up that guy who played for Division I school. I'm gonna be anonymous here, but yeah, no, the guy was an offensive lineman for a Division I school. I didn't necessarily beat him up as like I hit him on the chin, one knocked out, one punch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for the record, I'm not tall. I'm very short. I'm not tall at all. So we talked about that. It's like, again, I don't want to be like one of those guys that talks about how much people he beats up, because usually those guys do the opposite, right? Are the ones getting their ass kicked. But yeah, no, like, but the point is, share familiarity because of what other people say about you.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like you know someone based on what someone says about. Like, I feel like I know someone from what someone else tells about me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had never seen this dude in my life. Hey, you're that little dude that can hoop. Okay, so the thing is, before this familiarity, if I was just to go into that city by myself, I knew nobody, no one knows me. people are like, who are you? Where are you from? Why are you doing this? Like,
Oh, yep.
again, this like a level of familiarity that's involved.
That's where that entire conversation about checking in comes from.
I'm the whole checking in. You have to, when you go to a city and if you're trying to chill in like a hood in the city, right? You talk to someone who knows someone from said hood that can vouch for you and let you in. Oftentimes it comes with money. Sometimes it does not. For celebrities, it comes with money. I'm not sure. The huge conversation of checking in. I'm not sure if you know who Steven Jackson is.
A little bit.
He played basketball. He's a commentator. He does like podcasts, or maybe I'm thinking of something else. Like, I'm not sure. His name is. Anyway, this guy. Steven Jackson. He's a basketball player. Played for the Spurs. He talks about checking in because, like, when he goes visit the city, he likes to visit a different ghetto area, hood of the city, right? I sounded really white there, didn't I? But yeah, he talks about checking in, and people on the internet clown on him for it. Like, you're an NBA superstar. Why are you still checking in, right? It's what he wants to do. I'm not here to personally judge his decision, but he's the one who kind of taught white people from the suburbs what checking in is, right? Like, he's like, I bring him up because he's the one who taught white people from the suburbs what checking in is, right?
Like, realistically, there's a very important reason for why you check in. Hell, it's the same reason why when
So
somebody
you don't get robbed or shot or
get
something
robbed,
by
get
someone
shot, get
does not know
accidentally
who
fucked
you are.
up. Like, get accidentally fucked up by somebody who's like, oh damn, I didn't know you knew so and so. If I knew that, I wouldn't have done nothing. But it's also the same reason why, if you relate that into the political sphere, it's why having people who are a part of something like the group that both of us are part of, the Liberal Action Network, have the same justification for somebody to check in, or just simply having an open conversation with them inside of a place like their Discord.
Like how I joined LAN. I've been on a few WIC panels, but Blue Dog Josh was the one who vouched for me on LAN.
And for me, meeting WIC for the first time and getting involved in panels when I was being a little bit nicer, in the sense of like, I'm not trying to like be a shouting match. I talked about it earlier inside the general chat.
I don't want to be one of those debate bros.
Yeah, I talked about that earlier inside the LAN, where I said the Madrive Red Pill. I want to hear what people have to say. I'm not trying to have a shouting match with them. If a person starts just constantly screaming and acting fucking retard, the way that people like Soy Pill do, whenever they're on a place like a WIC panel, or whatever other place that they're on, like Live and Learn, where they're trying to just basically act real fucking stupid, like their name is fucking Patrick Starfish, I will tune out, because I have no interest in watching that, because I don't need to watch more political debate blood sports. If I wanted that, then I would watch...
Yeah, I don't...
I would watch...
Those guys are often the softest. The internet shouters are always, not usually, always, except for maybe one or two exceptions that have happened sometime, the ones that bitch out in person, right?
Yeah.
The ones that act pussy in person, right?
Yeah,
That's why they hide behind a fucking screen and talk shit, because they're too fucking soft in real life to actually stand on business. I'm not Mr. Tough Guy. I'm not the type of guy who gets into fights with people because I want to. I don't get into. Well, I've been into fights in my life. That's what you have. I've been into fights in my life. I'm not like Mr. Tough Guy who fights everything and wants to talk about how rough and tough he is. Like, those guys usually are the softest that can't back shit in person. And I'm not. People who actually been in fights know how serious fighting is, right?
Yeah, it's just life and death. It's not a game.
Yeah, like one wrong punch, one wrong hit, you're dead, gone.
Oh, it'd be
Jail
worse than that.
for the person who threw the punch.
It'd be worse.
Jail who threw the punch.
Like, sometimes it's worse than that. In a lot of situations, especially when it comes to the streamer world, these people are so funny and comical when they do these things, because it's like, none of you guys have been in fights, especially not any of these girls, because there's no talking that's involved. The problem there is that you have a lot of people who are like learning things from osmosis. So the idea of the person who talks the most is the person who has the least amount of hands. But it's also the case that the person who's talking is also sizing you up as they're talking, and they're looking for very specific key reactions and very key tells to tell whether or not you are a fighter, or whether or not you are also sizing them up. So they're watching you, watching them, also watching themselves, and watching the environment. So, like, if they stand towards the back of the room, put their back to a wall, whenever they're looking around, they're always talking, and they're not necessarily looking you with eye contact. They occasionally look you in the eye, but they're also looking around the room. They're counting the exits. They're looking to see if somebody's around the group circling them. The moment that they stop talking and they just stare at you like, they're going to kick you in your fucking teeth. Or they're going to decide when randomly they're going to kick you in the chest, the shoulder, punch you, sucker punch, whatever. Like,
fighting is something that is very serious that should be taken.
Like, for people like, oh no, it's okay. For people like Michael Jai White, I think the best example that I can have for people who are actual fighters, if a person picks up their back leg and it looks like they're just stretching, and it's very clear the leg never comes down, that's them loading a front hoof kick, and they're going to kick you in your groin, or in like the area above your thigh and your leg, to knock you off your footing, so that they can then deal with the next person behind them. Because any person who's ever been to a party knows that's exactly how the shit fucking starts. The one that comes up the loudest is going to come up in front of you, and they're going to say something along the terms of what I said earlier, but then you're not paying attention to the 2 or 3 guys that circle behind you, and the next thing you know, they got you like this, and now stab, and it's over. You didn't even get a chance to fight back. Now you're just like, oh, you's a bitch! And they don't care, because they want to take you out. In the streamer world, a lot of these guys, they scream and they shout on these panels, and even inside of
they scream and shout, threaten you with knives and guns sometimes.
Yeah, and then they scream and shout on these panels.
Sneeko with the guns on camera, dancing.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned Nick Fuentes with the stupid knife, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Those guys can fight.
And then all the other times, it's more like what the Snarkers are doing, especially since you're Snark 30 when it happened to Wick.
Oh, speaking of, please explain for those who don't know the Snarkers.
Oh, that's easy. So, like, in the same way that I talked about Internet Blood Sports, the Snarkers, especially those that are the anti-Destiny, anti-Wick Snarkers, they are people who are basically the exact tonality of these people I'm talking about. But they themselves, rather than being big back gangsters or people who seem scary, are basically the most effeminately toned men and women in existence that effectively hide behind avatars and also talk the maddest shit. But when it comes to actually having debates live on a stage that they don't necessarily control, they effectively put you in this position where they are insulting you and they are expecting you to act out of frame to get you to overreact to things that are not that serious. They are serious, but they shouldn't be that serious because look at the person who's threatening you. So when Morale, this is an example, these are real things that were said, these are not my opinions, I'm just repeating the energy in which they were communicated. When Morale says to Stardust, "You're Beckett's slam pig, you're not even good enough for him to keep around," and then he walks into Wick's channel, The Flock, and he goes into the backstage. Effectively, he is walking up like, "I'm coming towards you with epistemically clean arguments, and I'm here to have a meaningful debate!" When really what he wants to do is he wants to get on camera and repeat the same comments that he made to Stardust on Yitter, ex-Twitter, and say them again on, well, I call it Yitter because it's just fucking Twitter. It's just Twitter with an X.
I call it fucking Twitter. I call it Twitter.
But,
his mama named Twitter, his dad named Twitter, his name is fucking Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Twitter. I'm not calling it X or Zitter or Itter or Elon's app. Or
Yeah.
It technically is Elon's app, but
yes, it is. But every single version of that, any version of those people, they want to go onto the platform, or in the case of people like Gisticle, they want to co-stream what's being said, and then they'll say things like, "Well, I didn't say it in his chat room. I said it in my chat room." But then they're repeating the words in the stream, they're repeating the words on the camera, they're constantly saying it non-stop. A good example is when the Ethan Klein Snarkers that are a part of the Hassanites, the people who are the followers of Hassan, the moderators, the active power users, and the members, especially the offline chat members, when they're saying things about the Giardia that his child was effectively infected with, when George Van Bonata was repeating those words and Denims was watching him, where she's just like, "Oh my god, I can't believe that!" But she's not hiding the chat room. She's allowing the chat room to scroll the comments, and they're constantly talking about how his kids got infected by the shit that's in the floor, and the shit that's in their hair, and the shit that they're eating. All of that is snarking. And you could say it's like, okay, so who cares? It's just words being said, right? It's like, no, that's just an example of it. That's a simulacrum of the actual asymmetrical communication network and information and disinformation campaign that is working against the person. Because one of our members, as they talked about on the early part of the panel, alongside Jonathan and all the others that were there, alongside Bishop, we had a member of ours that's been getting attacked by a troll network of people who are trying to snark him. Yeah. And it's like, no, it's not just people who are saying crazy things. Because the obvious reaction most people have is like, cyberbullying's not real. Just close your eyes. It's not that important. We live in a time period now where, because we're public figures, a person can pay $50 to $55 for a DMCA takedown to take your information so they can personally fuck with you. And the problem with snarking...
We are on the internet now.
Yeah.
Cyberbullying, like, I'm not sure if you saw that Tyler the Creator post, how to fuck a cyberbullying.
Yep, that's the one I'm referencing. Yep.
Ha ha ha.
Like,
that used to be true.
Yeah.
Now you can find now everyone's on the internet. Your entire profile's on the internet. People can find you and dox you within this, and they can fuck with you.
Yes, and it's not even the case of where it's like, well, Carl.
Not saying that cyberbullying is as bad as like in real life, though. It can really fuck with you. Like it can fuck with your money.
Mm-hmm. Because the problem is that you can't tell the legitimacy of it. Because all it takes is just one phone call into an HR room, which is where it started.
Yep.
It was a leftist tactic that was put through by media watchdog groups and attack groups like Media Matters and Sleeping Dogs during Dorsey Twitter to antagonize specific people that they wanted to harangue and harass, especially from the likes of people like the gay wonk, Carlos Maza, the champagne socialist, who his claim to fame is the fact that his mother had made a big multi-million-dollar company during the time of the second apocalypse. Him and Steven Crowder. Where that's an entire thing where it's like, oh, that'll never happen to me. No, the way that it looks now is it looks more like Flesh Simulator situation. A bunch of people decide to personally fuck with your life. They lie about you to your family. They lie about you to your partners. They harangue your partners. They harangue your friends. They harangue your social networks. They try to get your job to drop you. They try to get your social connections to drop you. They try to do everything possible to basically act like you are irradiated. And the only way for everybody else to be safe is to basically distance themselves from you.
From said person.
Yes, from said person.
They have the virus that was spread on them by the trolls, yes. Right?
The cheese touch.
Yep, the cheese touch.
For people who remember the Dave Clicky book, Diary of a Kid, it's the cheese touch.
Yep, the cheese touch. You had a cheese. Someone touched the cheese and touched that person. The rotting cheese touch, and then that person touches this person. They have the cheese touch, and you're the social pariah. No one wants to talk to you. No one wants to fuck with you. Right.
All that shit, that's just step one. Because step two is that now that you're socially isolated, this is where all the damning lies come in. Because who's going to be the social proof to say whether or not what this is happening to you is true or not? Maybe your family. That's it. If your parent isn't a legal expert, if they're not a lawyer, if they're not a law officer, if you are a creator that has not gone down to your local police department and talked to the beat cops and say, hey, I'm a social creator.
I know lawyers, I'm good.
Yeah,
I know lawyers, I'm good.
Like, you go down to the police office and you probably do the same shit that I've had to do, that other creators had to do, that Wick certainly had to do when it started happening to him. Hi, I'm so-and-so, this is my channel, I live at so-and-so. If you ever get a phone call about something at this location, at this address, that allegedly has somebody held hostage with a violent weapon, please give me a safety call.
They SWAT streamers. I have seen so many, I don't watch streams regularly, but I've seen some clips of people getting swatted. Mm-hmm. It happens so much, especially with the whole rising of the streaming culture in the 2020s.
Yeah,
and when people get swatted, it's normal. Swatting is fucking normal now.
It shouldn't be.
People get swatted. Yeah. It shouldn't be. First of all, swatting is a federal crime.
Yep. 5 to 10, 10 to 15 if they catch you, and a conspiracy if there's multiple people involved. But it started from Twitch, of all places, which that's an entire conversation we can get into.
I do want to... Sorry, finish your point. I do want to bring it to conversation, I know.
No problem.
I want to bring the conversation to... Why are you a liberal? How did you become a liberal? Why are you not a far leftist or a far rightist or a centrist or a center rightist? Why liberalism?
Uh, Ironically, the same answer starts from the same place that thing was about to start from, which is technically Twitch. Um, I've said before that I have been a disaffected liberal that feels politically homeless since about say 2017, because I want to play video games. I am one of those social people that it's like, listen, bro, we can talk about whatever problem you got going on, but first I'm gonna need you to get on this game because people.
We gotta hop on the game sometime, by the way. We gotta hop on the game.
Yeah, there's no problem. That can usually be set
We
up.
gotta hop on.
But I'm one of those social people in the social group amongst the friends that I have, especially people who I've met now IRL in my town through friends like mine, like Aiden Paladin. I got a friend like that. I call my pocket racist for obvious reasons.
Pocket racist.
Oh yes, yes. He calls me slurs.
Got a question.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not black enough or whatever, but I know like when I was going to the white suburban school, one of my best friends was a black dude who grew up around all white people. He was like not in the stereotypical sense. Like he didn't play sports or anything like that. Like something like a lot of the stereotypes that white people have of the black dudes who are in the white school. He has a friend who calls him the N-word with the R. Or the racist friend was not my friend. I did not like him or want to be around him. Again, I don't hang around too many white people. I do have some white friends, but in general, most of my friends are black. Why do you have a friend that calls you slurs? Maybe like it's in jest.
They do it in jest. It's not the kind of insult where they hate you, but they're still in the social group. This is a person who does it as a form of endearment. And the reason why he's doing it is that he's inventing terms like moon cricket. Like they come up with a new word every single time.
Like they go in their deep dictionary of racism and say the slurs.
Yes. Did you happen to watch a lot of cable, like TV Land or Dick at Night? Do you remember the nanny?
Oh God, yes.
Do you remember the characters Niles and Cece?
Yep.
That's that relationship. Every single time that they talk to each other and they meet each other, they're constantly snarking each other, but they do so in a way where
I lived off TV and games and movies and stuff like that.
They're constantly snarking each other.
My parents were too busy working. My mom too busy working. Dad wasn't really in my life like that at the time, so I grew up off TV and movies.
With myself, I had an aunt. My aunts were named after gemstones. My aunt Opal introduced me to TV Land and would sit down with me and would watch these television shows. And then she would do the same thing with Nick at Night. Watched a lot of early Reba, watched a lot of early Roseanne and later Roseanne. But most especially, she made me sit down and watch everything of Fran Drescher, including The Nanny. Which is ironic because when I became an actor and I learned she was the current SAG-AFTRA head of the organization, now I'm like, damn, that's crazy. But that relationship between the characters Niles and Cece from The Nanny is basically the relationship any personal racist friend has with another friend that in themselves either does not say it frequently or in privacy.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
The reason I ask you that is because the racist friend of one of my friends from the suburban white school, he got in trouble for actually being racist against another black student. I thought it was predictable as hell to me. I never liked that guy. But like he was actually calling her slurs.
Yeah, I didn't have any friends that did that. Ironically, in high school, what I had was a gay
But
best friend.
he was cool. He was cool to the other to the mutual friend. But he called that girl slurs.
I never had friends
Like
like that.
in actual seriousness, I was like, you never had that in seriousness. I'm not sure how that works.
Not in my teenage years. When I got into college, every person around me was educated enough that things like the hard art did not affect us. And that's probably one of the bigger secrets people don't understand. The insult isn't the word, it's the energy and the intent behind it, and usually the power of the word with us reclaiming it as a term of endearment, it has the
power
inverse
of the
effect.
word was
It was the exclusionary
the reason
intention.
the reason it affected this girl is because she was one of a handful of black students in the school, and she wasn't unpopular, but didn't have too many friends. This guy was a piece of shit loser, but he somehow had a lot of his other loser white friends gang up on this girl too as well. So
He was probably not a quality person. Because the
No.
quality of the people that you have around you dictates the reality that you end up waking up to, which is the reality of a lot of races.
I haven't talked to the mutual friend between me and this fucking weird racist kid. Anyway, the weird racist kid is in jail right now. So fuck that guy.
Yeah, I don't like him because he probably
He caught
never.
a charge. I can't really say it on this stream.
Oh, that's no problem.
So
If you want to mention it, you can probably type it somewhere, and I'll probably see it. But yeah, like that's the reality behind when people get upset by things like racial slurs, where they are just said openly and flippantly, like they don't understand the power it has. Calling somebody a gringo or wetback, just to use some very light examples, can't go towards the flying K-I-T-E, but replace the T with a K. You can't
for Jewish people.
For Jewish people. Yeah.
That's sort of for the Jewish people.
Like,
I got called that too. I've gotten called that too. I'm not Jewish, by the way. I'm not Jewish.
But
I get mistaken for Jewish sometimes, so...
That's almost natural, because it's like, if they're not white, they might be a little bit Jewish. It's like probably the most common thing, which is actually crazy. Some people
I can't tell the difference between a Jewish white person and a white white person. They look the same to me.
It depends on the culture.
Maybe let's have like a little bit of a... Maybe have like a little bit of like the hair... what are those called? Those...
The Jew froze.
Orthodox hair...
The Orthodox
the little
hairstyles.
thing, the curl things, or like the headwear. Sometimes the yarmulke, sometimes the other Orthodox hat. I don't know what it's called.
Usually, if they live in suburban environments, they don't have the traits of the Orthodox, like what they would do even traditionally, where they like have them like canal glues they put on the temples. Usually, it's basically whether or not they happen to have like a Jew fro, or if their parents have them being overachievers. Because people like the Beastie Boys were multi-instrumentalists because their parents told them, you can play multiple instruments and we're going to let you have the time and teach you how to. So if that's like generational wealth and like religion alongside different parts of culture.
Like where I'm from, there's no Jewish people where I'm from. I didn't meet my first Jewish person until I got to college, and that was one of the players on the basketball team. Was a Catholic school, by the way, but he was Jewish. He showed me around. He was like the recruiting visits. Like he was the captain of the team. He was really good. He showed me around.
Yeah, that's neither here nor there. But to get back to answering your question, which also relates to how I ended up having this white friend. In my youth, I didn't have any people like that around me because that was a level and a frequency that I would not allow to reverberate through my friend group. I had everything except a person who was doing that. In my adult life, it was much different because now this is a person who's lived an entirely separate life from me. But for some of those people, they use that as a test to see whether or not you're one of those hoodlums that just, whenever you hear the word, you have to go monkey. And for him, that was the way that he told whether or not he could actually have real, meaningful, lasting relationships with adults. Because if you're an intelligent man, you know that you're not one, so you don't react to the word. Which sounds crazy when a person says it, but when you hear his rationale, it makes sense. Because, like, if you are going to get crazy over when he describes a type of behavior, but then the behavior is ascribed to a term, it's no different that when I had my gay best friend who was white, but I didn't know he was gay until all of us, like, had basically sit down and have a Jean Grey moment with him and, like, walk him through, like, bro, you fumbled hella bitches. This girl was fine. You like dick. For him, he, like many people learned, he is one of the undercovers. Like, he wears the programming socks and the thong underneath his goth black outfit when he goes out in public. Like, he is an alternative lifestyle choice that for him, he needs to know whether or not you're safe to be around. And
like,
that's
people don't know he's gay by looking at him. Actually.
Well, bisexual, but mostly, yeah. Like, if you say the right words to him, he will be a bottom. If you are mean enough, or forceful enough, or he likes you enough to be around him. Because he's hiding the version of himself. Because the place where he lives in the South, where we both live, like, an hour and... Yep, where we live about, like, an hour...
They don't fuck with gay people there.
Yeah, with an hour 45 minutes within each other, they don't fucking like
I do have gay friends, but, like, the people I'm friends with who are of the LGBT community, you know.
Mm-hmm. Like,
it's obvious by talking to them that they have sugar in their tank.
Yes, they got sugar in their system, sugar in their bowl. They a little bit sweet. They be real quiet and freak when they were a little girl. Shout out to Saucy Santana. But, like, for him, it's one part performance and then one part shit test. Because he wasn't sure if I was one of those blacks. So, in
One of
learning
those
about
class.
so in learning about me,
What do you mean by that? Could you
he didn't
explain
know
that
if
more?
he didn't know if I was one of the hooligans, if I was one of those tourists that they claim to be cool with everybody, but then if you say the wrong thing to them, they get upset, and it's like, why'd you say that name? Why'd you say that word? I didn't have that reaction, and so he was like, oh, this is somebody that I can actually tell my problems to, because he's not going to just go yapping about it to everybody fucking else. It's now become a joke between the two of us where I will introduce him as the bucket racist, and he'll be like, Carl, don't say it like that, and it's like, go ahead and just like do this real quick, and he'll show off his tongue, and he'll be like, oh, I thought you was one of those other ones. I'm like, no, we don't live that close to
Pocket
Sound
racist
Mountain.
is also gay.
Yeah, it's like, for him, he is one of the examples of don't ask a racist the color of his girlfriend, because his ex-wife is Polynesian. She can pick him up. He weighs 150 pounds wet, and she can pick him up on her shoulders and fireman carry and angel and bridal carry him through the threshold of his home. Like, he is by no means a threat. He is a respectable citizen, but he is the kind of person that when you have him in the friend group, he's the guy that does the shit test for you, because he's going to find out whether or not they are safe enough to be around you in your inner echelon, because they trust you well enough, because they know that you're not going to bend and fold to things like somebody goading you with what is supposed to be the number one way to rage bait black people, per se. That when they shit test other people to see if they're worthy enough to be around you, that they can now have different conversations about things like the economy. They can have conversations about culture, because they know that you are open-minded enough that you don't immediately hear words and you chimp out, which ultimately actually leads into how I ended up becoming a liberal. Just let alone being capitalist and then also open to different frames of reference to learn from.
Were you ever conservative or far leftist?
My family started out as hyper
Like
left.
Republican?
No,
Oh,
hyper
hyper-left,
left.
okay.
Hyper left.
Oh, shit.
I ended up getting my government position because my mother knew a person, and they were looking for people who were basically wanting to work with Democrats. This is before they elected Obama the first time, back before 2008. I was canvassing on the ground, and back then it was like, I'm very young, I didn't want to be in the canvassing building, but I'm already here, so I might as well give my best effort. And I made an impression upon people. The impression was good. So then this opened up thousands of different doors, as it does for people. And back then, at the very minimum, I was of the mindset of, if they're cool with me, and I'm cool with them, and we're not trying to kill each other, then it's I. And around here, where I live, there are people who are very conservative with their values, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they are Republican, hard-cut, MAGA right-wing. If anything, they are concerned socially, and they will then implement concepts progressively, as long as they still suit the basis of the community. So they'll start at the neighborhood level, then they'll go to the school and the city and the state level, and then go outwards to the federal. For all of those problems, and it's funny because it's one of the core memories for what people who were in my audience at the time during COVID remember. I was working inside things like machining lab factories, running CNC operated numerically controlled weld lines and cutting lines. And in one part of the building, you got African American men, actual hard R's, but just normal black guys, cutting the LX line for the knuckle bump that goes into a transport van. And then here I am, busting the groove, acting like Carlton in front of two different machines on the line. And I got a lesbian that is a chapstick lesbian that works the tool room, the most racist engineer that works a machining line you could have ever met, big, heavy-set black woman teaching alongside the very small, linear, short Latina that's working as the head of said line. And it all functions and works together, because even if they all have politically a different worldview, at the end of the day, we're all the scum of the earth. So for them, it's very easy to get along. And in the colleges, even if they happen to have different views, they're intelligent enough that they can extrapolate and communicate those views. But at the most part, inside of the student life group that was created by my sister, because I was a legacy in that student life group, it was pretty much...
Did you go to a PWI?
I went to a state school.
So yeah.
I'm sorry, I wasn't for the what PWI was. But I went to a state school.
Institution.
I see.
So not a HBCU.
Well, I didn't go into HBCU. I could have gone.
I wanted to go to an HBCU but I got a scholarship to a PWI, so I went there. A small liberal arts college.
I
It had a decent black population, but it was still a predominantly white school.
had a choice where I could have gone to Tuskegee University, but I chose to instead do my generals in Troy University online before I then transferred into the state school in the town in which I live. For privacy reasons, I'm not going to say it publicly on camera.
Yeah.
But in that state school, where my sister was the member of one of the founding members of the student life group I eventually joined, all the people there were various different lives, different walks of life, and a predominant number of them, especially like 65% of them, all African American men and women, various different worldviews, various different concepts, various different mentalities, perspectives, body sizes, and almost all the ones you'd expect. The girls running the anime room, the guys were running most of the gaming, and of the white people who were there in the room that were doing the gaming as well, they were the kind of people that could interchangeably use laughable forms of slurs as not pejoratives, but as inclusionary terms to make things light and friendly so that everybody would at least be able to sit down and play a game and play a match and be engaged with things. In doing so, I felt that that was the better choice for me to have done, because these people, whether they had a decision in doing so or not, actually helped raise me. But then when it came to the nature of going to a historic black college to be around other blacks of mentality, I just didn't feel like I belonged in the circle, because I did not feel like these people could be able to match me on my level. And I don't mean intellectually, I mean socially. Like the things that I cared
like different
about.
things.
Yeah, the things
Then,
that I cared about.
then you thought that some of the other, like you didn't think that some of the people at Tuskegee University would have liked the same things you did.
Nah, especially not at that time of day. I was an entirely different person back then. But just inherently, the things that I knew that I liked, that were core to me, were things that I knew that people inside of Tuskegee University did not like. I had no intention on joining a black fraternity. I had no intention on joining a black fraternity that was not Omega Sci-Fi, which is the black and gold, or rather the purple and gold, to be exact.
Yeah, I was supposed to join the Kappa Alpha Psi. When I wanted to join that one, but my school didn't have fraternities white or black.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and the state,
my twin brother went to the states. We got a scholarship to a state school. He joined a white fraternity. So,
but it's like the black fraternities are not going to gel with me. I'm not going to gel with them. I ain't getting hazed. Fuck what you I fuck your traditions. You're not putting me nowhere.
I hear some of the shit they do in fraternities, white or black. Not for me.
See,
the white fraternity. Some of the white fraternities do the weirdest shit.
The white fraternity. Okay, I can actually break that down.
I've seen videos of black fraternities doing some weird shit too, but some of the white fraternities doing weird shit too.
Like the shit that happens in a white fraternity.
I'm gonna give you an example of each. So, the video of a black fraternity hazing was each of the guys were laying down. One person cracked open an egg and put it in one of the guy's mouth. The other guy had to spit out the egg into the other guy's mouth and down the line. The white fraternities, heavy pause on this shit, by the way. I learned this shit against my will. I'm not sure if you heard of an elephant walk.
Yeah.
It's do I say it on here? It's so gross. Everyone's naked.
Yeah.
Everyone's naked. Each of the pledges grab their things and have to walk with holding each other. That's so gross.
Mm-hmm.
Holding each other's member.
Yeah. Like,
oh my god.
The things.
It's so disgusting.
Yeah, the things that black fraternities do, they do as like a interpersonal humiliation ritual where it's like, yeah, this gonna bond y'all for life because y'all gonna be traumatized. And then inside the white fraternities, it's the kind of things where if you just listened to it out of context, you're like, what kind of fruity shit y'all got going on? But it's less a humiliation ritual for the individual and more a humiliation ritual for everybody collectively. I don't know why the fuck that is. I'm certainly not gonna do that.
I have a theory. Some of the white fraternities have more of a. I'm gonna put on my woke hat, right? They have a legacy of they have a legacy, and some of the fraternities leaders were closet to gay people, right? And they did that as a way to haze, meantime something satisfactory to. I'm not trying to be homophobic here, I swear to God. But I think with white fraternities, it's more of like the big brothers want to make fun of the little brothers because to point and laugh and make fun of them and make them feel small, right? But with the black fraternities, it's more like the big brothers are trying to make the little brothers gel together and bond. That's what I take from the interpretations of. I've done a lot of watching videos on both black and white fraternities. That's kind of the take I get from each of them. What are your thoughts on that? Am I right, wrong, middle?
Having talked to and known multiple people from both female and male fraternities, as well as white and black and Latina and Latin and intermixed all the
from
types.
Sororities, D9 organizations, both male and female. Regular fraternities and sororities, both male and female.
Yeah, and all the
Southern
chapters.
Schools.
Yep, and all the
Midwest,
chapters.
Northern, Southern.
Yeah, for almost all of them, the ones that come from historic, like the closer you get to Ivy League and then downwards, the white ones usually do it as a form of like performative social embarrassment hazing, but it's designed in which to break you down, to build you back up, so that you can learn to trust the annals of the people that are your alum. The black ones feel like very specific, targeted forms of social hazing. Sometimes they're supposed to standardize it. So the same hazing ritual that happens all the time is supposed to happen. I remember the Alpha Kappa Alpha one, which people know because it's been advertised thousands of times. Girls being forced to drink multiple jugs of water to the point where their guts are about to fucking explode, and then forced to basically sit and hold it for hours on end before they nearly piss themselves, causing them to have multiple episodes of expansionism in their organs, where they have to get their stomachs pumped because your body's not meant to hold that much fucking water. And they're meant to do.
For some of the other AKAs that, even in the PW, all the AKAs I know pledged at PWIs, and they said the same thing as well. Like sometimes the hazing is the water hazing. Yeah, that's just the wind.
Like the hazing, sometimes when it's standardized, it's like everybody goes through this hazing ritual. They standardize it for this reason. It doesn't feel like it's targeted, and it doesn't feel unfair. And that usually tends to be the case with the whites and the women, because usually the women don't have female-only black sororities, but there are many of them that now do exist, especially the ones that basically are considered to be the brother-sister sorors across the groups. So the fucking Qs, the Sigmas, the Deltas, the Alphas, the Kappas, the Omega Psi-Phis, those are the ones that usually can go hand in hand. But when it comes to the male black fraternities, sometimes, and it's actually ironic because it's also simulacrum of the same kind of hazing rituals that you see inside of the streamer world, they will specifically design the hazing ritual to try to trigger you as much as possible. Because even if it was the case that they will eventually accept you and respect you, because it's like, oh man, we chose to put an electric rod up this man's butthole, and we kept pushing the rod button and electrocuting him. It's like,
so you're disagreeing with my point initially that, would you say that white or black fraternities?
It depends. It depends. It always depends.
It depends.
As an organization, it's supposed to bring you together, but sometimes very specific people will target a guy. So let's say the example of drinking through water jugs. Everybody's got to drink through a water jug. But then this one specific pledge that they decide to fuck with, doesn't matter if it's by a random draw or they specifically hate that guy, they decide to put magnesia of ignatia, Epitax syrup, in the water. Now he's pissing, shitting, and throwing up all over himself, and everybody's laughing, and nobody's calling an ambulance. Then he starts having anaphylactic shock because I'm surprised he didn't know he was allergic to that shit. Then you get those stories where it's like, oh, hazing gone wrong. Couldn't be me. Oh no, I will come back from the grave and murder everybody. Absolutely not.
I could never be hazed. Also, the reason why I chose college sports over fraternities. Sometimes I wish I hadn't played college sports because like my career sucked.
Mhm.
I was hurt all the time. I was in and out of like the training room, like hospital, shit like that. My career was just I had health issues during college too. That wasn't fun.
I chose esports. It was easier. It was simpler. It was cleaner.
We didn't have esports until my senior year, which I joined the esports team as a walk-on, and I played Smash Brothers and Overwatch.
See, that's where I ended up getting into League. I spent 10 years in that. I went from doing it as a side bit in
We didn't
college.
have that. Did you get played professional league or?
I played Challenger League. I placed top 500 in the South.
You still play league?
I don't play League anymore competitively outside of
What
coaching.
games do you play?
Let's see here. On my top channel, if I go directly to my Steam and I just read.
I know you said you
what
play.
I played recently.
When we chatted a little bit before this week, we played a little. You said you played a little bit of everything. So.
Right now in my rotation, I have Deadlock. I have Eternal Return. I used to have Smite and Smite 2. That's an entire conversation itself. I obtain and I maintain a trainer account
I
in
never played Smite
Masters
2.
and Grandmasters for League, but I only will coach on request because I have dealt with people who just they decide to waste my time. They try to grief my stream and try to invite me into custom 5-on-5 customs to try and waste my time because they get upset that they get beaten on one of their accounts, so they try to lure me into a room full of people, and then when I recognize...
they want to bring up their stats because you're good.
I mean, it's in some cases for the one that recently happened within like the last 6 to 9 months, I beat them live on camera, and I did not have my chat room in a state where they could grief me.
Oh, I also played
in the
Apex
chat.
Esports too. Apex
Yeah.
Legends, I played that too. Esports.
But,
I was the reserve on Apex Legends though. I wasn't part of the main team.
Yeah, but they tried to invade my chat room. I did not have the chat settings on to allow them to, so they put together a 2-week operation to try and grief me in a random 5v5 customs on camera. When I figured out that's what their plan was, the moment that I won 2 of the matches and switched from jungle to top lane to put their player in ISO, and I destroyed this person's mentality to the point that they wanted to rage quit, and they tried to send their anchor in to fight me on season 10 or 9, season 9, 10, 11, Camille, and I destroyed her with a Lowy, and I'm like, so let's talk about a loss there. Suddenly, what was just he and ha and turned into, man, anybody trying to hear you lecture them about work. It's like, no, you're not going to waste my fucking time. My time and my money is expensive. And then there's been other shit too, on and off. There's been things like, say, there have been things like Arcaren, games like that like come up soon-ish. There have been leagues of like pick up and drop down competitive games of the Apex Legends that I played on console. Didn't really necessarily enjoy it that much, especially when the hackers started taking it over a lot.
The hackers took over. I quit. So I do.
A little bit of Fortnite here and there, but most definitely when I tried to play the finals. Finals is where I was very sick and tired of what eventually became now the 3-on-3 stay of like the PvP-like experiences inside of things like Arc Raiders and Marathon, which
I do play Arc Raiders. I like Arc Raiders. It's fun.
it's like
Arc
for,
Raiders is fun.
for those games back then, it's like a particular simulacrum of game that it's like an arcade shooter, but not quite. Like it's approaching as quickly as you could a version of a game that's ball and gun adjacent, but it's not. Fortnite is probably a better example because at the time in my generation, it was PUBG and things like that.
PUBG became before Fortnite. I remember Fortnite hit my high school like crack. Fortnite hit kids my age like crack cocaine.
Yeah.
In 2017, 2018, my senior year of high school, that it hit, like, it came out in 2017 and immediately spread like wildfire. And everyone played it. If you didn't play it, you're on the out. See, normally the people who would play those type of games like would not. Those type of games would never sniff a ball and gun gamer. Not until Fortnite, and then everyone.
It was the separation and difference between Save the World and Battle Royale. Once Fortnite Battle Royale became constant, and that started getting the kids along, and effectively that's when Ninja made his bones in the first 4 years of the game's existence. That's
he
when it picked
became
up.
like he was the Fortnite guy. And
Yes,
that's why.
Mr. Floss during New Year's, and nobody wanted to dance with him. That's when that era of it really started. Because in that time, that's when I made my bones in League. That's when I made my bones in Smite, because Smite was made in my state of Georgia. It's also where I made my bones in things like Path of Exile, back when the game started.
I was never good enough to play pro gaming in any game. I was never good enough to play any game.
And it's also where
my brother and I, my twin brother, he's really good at Smash Bros. Like that's his game. That's the one he is the best at. He got smoked in a tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I played a Smash Bros. Tournament. I got smoked. But I guess, like in general, like I do want to talk with you further about games because I do want to play games with you because I need more people to fucking play with. I play Rivals, Overwatch. If you have any ideas for, I play Arc Raiders too. If you have any ideas for more games, I might be able to pick one up. Might pick up League again. Who knows?
You might definitely want to check out Eternal Return in that case, because if you're looking for something that is League-like and League-adjacent, but does not have any of the toxicity and has a very tight 15-minute limit, that is the game for you. That's the game for anybody who's, especially if they're FGC adjacent. But
Which game?
Eternal Return.
Eternal Return. All right.
Yep. But
okay, I might have to check it out.
All of those titles during that period is where I made my my esports bones. Because I started out as a collegiate scene player, then I transitioned into professional challenger league once I got good enough to be in those echelons.
I wish my college had esports at the time. Oh,
I got picked up. I got picked up to be a solo laner in Smite 1. I then chose to transition to the support staff because being a part of the support staff gave me access to the resources that I wanted to be able to compete at the level that I needed to, and it also gave me the background to be able to actually properly teach people. It's also where I learned very clearly to my character that the way that I am in games is not always reflective of the way that I am in life, because the way that I am in life, I try to be very devil-may-care, but the way that I am professionally, when my name is on the line and my reputation is on the line, it's a night and day difference. Especially when you sign these contracts, because lots of people don't understand it, especially when they're like, when you say you're a pro gamer, and they usually think like mimetic. No. I mean, if I say a wrong thing on this stage, I get taxed $1,000. That's what that means. Like,
I know, like pro gaming contracts vary, and it's very strict on what you can say on stage, what you can't say on stage, because gaming has this, excuse me, sort of stigma to it, negative stigma to it, and the professional leagues want to be taken more seriously as sports.
Yeah. The Tier 1, the Tier 2, the Tier 3 esports scene, which is now completely sports washed and owned by the Saudi Arabian and Qatarian investment funds and Saudi princes that really, really love SNK games. What used to be then was you had people like the other Frost as one of the representative examples of people that in, say, Smite, for example, were the people who made names for themselves by being that good. And alongside people like Weekend and Incon and Fnatic and Allied, rest in peace Allied, because he died of cancer, and all these other figures, they were the names that made up the backbone of that game at the time. Because in the era of things like Heroes of New Earth going offline and Predecessor not having a lot of people playing it because it was still inside of open beta, because all these different concepts were just not very well tested, and most of these people don't play Dota 2 because Dota 2 is even more complicated. You didn't have a real, true, proper competitor to League. League was like it. Then, when Hi-Rez, now Titanforge, because it's the group inside Hi-Rez that manages it, created Smite in its first 5 years, they set up the Pro League that ended up becoming the SPL to rival the LEC, the LCK, the LPL, the LCK, and the LEC slash NA or NALL situation for the various different parts of the American product and the European products of what made up what was basically the League Championship Series for Riot Games before Riot Central was bought out by Tencent. And in that time period, that's where people like BM Brandon Nance, who his compatriot and his simulacrum to League would be David Turley, Riot Freak. That's where he got off the desk as a shoutcaster and became a creator in the GameSphere. And he was the number one reason why multiple people like Smitten and the other Frost ended up going into esports journalism because he made so many people stop playing the game because he was destroying careers behind the scene. And that's one of the reasons why I ended up going to the support position, because he could not have an effect of a member of the support staff because the support staff's contract is longer than the players. You get a guaranteed contract that's longer for at least 5 years minimum compared to being a player where you have the chance of being relegated if you cannot perform in your position. It was more money, and I wanted to have the ability to touch hands and shake hands with people who were better than me and who were as good as me to become as good that I could be to then give that support and that advice to my players. So in the leagues where you're dealing with people like Hello, It's Slide Troll, and Barracuda on teams like that now perform in whatever is left over of the SPL, those people continue to perform and will continue to play inside of things like Smite 2, because they eventually also made Smite 2. Because Smite 1 at this point was like, 10, 11, 12 years old. It needed to be remade. They wanted to use
I never played Smite 2. I played Smite 1 sporadically.
It's still technically in playtest, but like the game itself is so dead that now the people that would be playing Smite 2, with the exception of Final K, who decided to go back and play with Haddix and the rest of them, they have now all switched to Deadlocked. Because it's a dead community. Like, people were held together by their mutual hatred of Juice DM and Team Juice and Brandon Nance, because he was an effervescent toxic troll. He talked like he knew what he was doing. He was dog shit at the game. He only ever played customs, because every time he played on live, he'd get griefed and trolled, and he would tell you that you're not allowed to play the top #1 best characters. You had to play ranked 3rd and below. And if you played it, you got banned from the customs, and thus you were persona non grata from any event, because he had the ends with the company still. And he, just like people like David Turley, could, you griefed in my matches, I'm going to look you up online and I'm going to ban you. And at the time, this was when Riot Games still had their original forms. The PBM, Player Behavior Modification forms, and Player Behavior Moderation forms, excuse me. And they still had their own website before they just bought the subreddit on Reddit directly, so they could control it. Having people like that be able to just basically erase your favorite creator. Oh, they don't get to be in a tournament because they pissed off Brandon. Oh, they don't get to play this particular event because they pissed off Brandon. People got sick of the shit. And he didn't have the ability to play with the echelons of big boys because he wasn't playing ranked. He knew what was being played in rank, but he couldn't perform. So, that's why if you were to look up, and if anybody was to look up any of the examples, you put in Smite, Brandon Nance, Troll, you'll find various examples of multiple events, especially professional on-camera events, where it was open season on him, because that's how disrespectful he was. To compromise that for some people, that's like 2014 era Tyler 1, Tarzan, Hashenshin. Names that if you played top lane and or jungle or under a bot, you know those were some toxic people in that era. Some of them now permanently banned. Hashenshin because he wanted to diddle on kids. Cookie Law because he wanted to diddle on kids. Tarzan because the man's that toxic. Like, things that, when you compare them earlier to what we were talking about with Marvel Rivals, that's preschool shit. These guys are doxing each other outside the game and talking shit inside TikTok. But at that time, that's the kind of thing where it's like, oh, you're a smaller streamer, you want to make a name for yourself? Well, Brandon Nance says you don't get to. And it only stopped when the creator of the other Frost, Frost Riviera is what he now goes by, basically chose to just prove how you could become better than him, and started making a public example of him on content.
I'm gonna take the conversation to a brief detour.
But
everyone we joined LAN. That's how we met. Mm-hmm. We've been on a week panel, but we joined LAN. How did what was your political? I know you said your family was far left, and now you guys are now you're like a liberal. Mm-hmm. Was that just your political journey from far left to liberalism, or?
I was never inherently far left, but people around me were just basically giving me opinions, and I was looking for a countervailing opinion that could prove that I was not crazy. Like, this cannot be the only. This is not the only representation that exists. It cannot be crazy MAGA and hard left. Well, MAGA at the time wouldn't even exist in that time. But you know, the example.
It was the Tea Party.
Yeah, it was the Tea Party. It was the Tea Party versus Occupy Democrats. during the era of the dirtbag leftists, El Chapo Trap House, and people like Hugo and Jake, now Hannah and Jake, because Hugo transitioned, hashtag dead name, and all these other people and figures that just basically don't exist now because their content can't exist on YouTube. People like Baked Alaska and whatnot. It cannot just be crazy people like Nick Fuentes and then these guys, and there's nothing in between, and the extremes are just basically what you expect to be there. Like, there has to be something outside the
Pick a side. Stay with it.
Yeah, there has to be something outside the D-Live alternatives, which is what I was saying earlier. The thing that really brought it towards me was Twitch, because I was watching the Skeptics, and by watching the Skeptics, I arrived at a position where it's just like, if I'm not going to be progressive on certain things and conservative on certain things, I'm just going to be apolitical. Politics does not play into how I choose to make decisions. I have opinions, but like McBride, I'm not going to tell you those opinions unless you ask me.
I'm going to talk a little bit about myself and my political journey. Again, I grew up around differing opinions. My mom was a liberal. My dad's a tanky. Like, he still thinks that Russia's in the right in the war, and Ukraine is evil and full of Nazis and must be destroyed. That's his actual opinion. I talk to him still to this day. My mom's a regular liberal, Hillary Clinton type liberal, right? And I have half siblings, step siblings from both sides, but my one full biological sibling, my twin brother, he's a leftist, self-identified Marxist. I used to be far left, but then I became center rightish in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was like what some people would call a hotep. That was my political beliefs, which is funny looking at me now. But because the regular alt-right pipeline was never a thing for me. Again, kid with all different multiracial kid, grew up in a predominantly black area. I went to school with a lot of white kids who fell down that trap during the time at the white school.
Mm-hmm.
I never fell for that for a variety of reasons, but I became a hotep. Dr. Umar Johnson and Tariq Nasheed were my two favorite content creators during my teenage years. It's embarrassing to say now. But yeah, Dr. Umar and Tariq Nasheed were my guys I listened to every day. And now I'm kind of on the liberal side, because I just think people deserve rights. Because during my hotep phase, I was very what's the word for it?
Radical?
What?
Radical?
What do you say? Like, kind of in a radical way. Like, I wanted to go to an HBCU because of my hotep phase.
Ah, yes.
That's
wanted to immerse yourself in the black honeys. Wanted to wish you the black queens.
I still prefer black. It's still Black Queens Forever, Snow Buddies. That never changed. That never changed. That never changed.
Mm-hmm.
But no, in general, like, I'm a little bit more, what's the term, open-minded to different opinions and experiences than I was throughout my high school and much of my college years.
Mm-hmm. See, for myself, it was when I was making things and doing things on Twitch. One of the things that became very obvious is that whatever particular political battlegrounds existed at the time, the people that were a part of what could be described as the dissident right that was forming up, so like the people who got arrested at January 6th because they were trying to go there to be edgy shitlords during the Capitol riots, and then were like trying to tour on the inside. People like Baked Alaska, for example, and also Nick Fuentes.
Oh my God.
They don't play video games. They talk endlessly about things that do not matter, and I was there to play video games with people. They couldn't even pick up a friend swap game to save their life to convince people to do it. And that was during the time in which it started becoming the bee's knees to play Among Us, especially during COVID. They did not.
Among Us.
Did not at all play video games. None of them. And
people who didn't play games played that game.
Yeah. And then
because it was on your phone, you had to buy a console.
Yeah. And then
Free to play.
At the same time, on this other side of the other sphere of things, the left had already politically subsumed and captured a lot of the gaming space. It doesn't matter what version the political capture came from. If you were truly a hoodweeb, that was like before the hoodweebs. So you were a transitory weeaboo. You were too scared to come out of the weeaboo closet, per se. You, like me, have a Prince Yuki doll from Fruits Basket hanging underneath my Taco Bell poster from the nerdcore era of artists like Mega Ran and Uncle Yo and the Amazing Adventures of Dwayne and Brando and the Megas and the Proto Men. Those were the rock groups, mind you. You, like me, were one of those people there with all this paraphernalia that I accrued over time from my gaming years, especially during the time when Overwatch was good. You were one of those people that watched the left subsume your favorite game. Period. Didn't matter what it was. If you were a territorial preferential weeb, you watched them take over the cozy games. If you were a ball and gun gamer, you watched them subsume the entirety of Twitch, starting from LSF. We could probably have an entire conversation with Stale 2000 about that if he was ever.
That's a conversation for another day.
But like you saw it.
We're about to wind down here. So.
Yeah. So you saw it happen over time, and what happened for me is that these people won't talk about their views because they're scared to say them publicly. Because if they say the wrong thing publicly outside the wrong social group, they won't be able to build their careers on Twitch. And that was the thing that I wouldn't say radicalized me, but definitely opened my eyes to the fact that I'm not safe where I'm currently standing. Because one side wants me to say the line, Carl. They want me to be a minstrel with an effect.
Yeah.
And then the other side want me to be a puppet that listens to the Longhouse. There's a debate that I was on December 6th. Yeah, there was a debate that I was on December 6th where I was facing one of those examples that basically happened on Twitch. His name is Irrelevant. And while my performance in that debate was not necessarily up to the snuff that I needed it to be, every single one of the points that I made since then have come true within the last 3 fiscal quarters of this year. I think we're in like fiscal quarter 3, about to go into
quarter 3. I know because I'm in sales and I need to know what fiscal quarter I'm
about to go into fiscal quarter 4. And during the first quarter of this year, everything that I said from January last year has come to pass. Especially if you're paying attention to Marathon. Holy shit! What a poop sock out of Sony. Especially before they even announced them dropping physical purchases. What a horrible poop sock that is. And it's like 200 million in the hole. Things like that, I could never be on a site like that. Because they don't like money. Screw the games. Screw the customer base. They don't like money.
I'm trying to get paid. Mm-hmm. My goal with this content shit, I'm trying to get into actual sort of like newish journalism. But I'm also doing video essays as well. But I'm trying to get paid full time from this. This is my goal, is to get paid full time for content. Like, and the left, the far left, the champagne socialists, if you will, want to act like money's a bad thing except for when they have it. Like, if they don't let people up and come, really.
No, they are constantly protecting the doors, and that's why I use.
But the Hassan Pikers and the those Kyle Kalinskis.
Yes.
Those guys.
In the political...
Again, I don't fucking know these people. This is not personal if you're ever seeing this. This is not fucking personal. I don't fucking know you people. This goes for everyone. I don't know any of these... Oh, that's the wind is in my door again. But yeah, anyway.
Go ahead.
My issue is I'm trying to get paid for this shit. I'm not trying to be in drama. I don't want to be in streamer beef, streamer drama, or anything that I don't have to be in. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to get paid and do good, which is why I joined the LAN for Carl's viewers.
Mm-hmm.
I joined the LAN because I want to make a difference with my content and have this as a job and get paid from it and spread good and kindness and rainbows and sunshine across the planet.
Mm-hmm. It's very similar to the answer that I had given when I spoke about the reason why I joined on the LAN. One of the reasons is effectively I grew into this position where my audience can trust what I think, they trust what I understand and know, because I haven't changed. I have grown into what started as my account from when I was in high school, and I didn't delete my old work. It's still there if people wanted to see it, but I've been evolving, moving ever forward, trying to go to new places, to reach new heights, meet new people. And it got to a point where simply having witnessed all these things, they don't necessarily need another dude bro trying to do shit. They don't need a minstrel, they don't need a jester, they don't need somebody co-signing things. But what they definitely need is they need an artist. They need a person who remembers how things were and also knows how things are, so that they can be informed about how to best make moves and make space. Make space, hold space, keep space, and build space, so that you can continue moving the project like this forward. And doing so without trying to gatekeep and doorstop the connections, which is why I mentioned that word earlier. Because that's definitely the place where it started from. And it started for Twitch. Twitch has been completely overtaken by these figures. And they do so because if you don't have the right politics, they will not promote you. So the only way that you can actually be able to grow is by actually being solid in what you do. But now, with the websites broken entirely, even if it was the case that you wanted to go up the way that you want to go up, before it would have been the case you would have had to do drama. But if you're a part of an Action Network, you can be the guy that's like, no, I'm going to talk about the hard things. I'm going to talk about the hard politics, or I'm going to investigate the connections. I'm going to report the things. I'm going to investigate the things. I'm going to add them to the public consortium that we have inside of our networks and our tools that let us know about good figures, actors in general, and bad actors. That's something a person can focus on. Because if you had a librarian type whose entire job is to know that library in and out, and they know the Dewey Decimal System of all the bad actors in the movement, you can have that at the same time you have the guy that organizes all the people to play the game together to get a feel for whether or not a person would be a good fit for the social group, let alone for the organization. Like, those two things can coexist at the same time, and more. Because if you don't build it, it will never happen. And every other type of thing that has happened before, it's much like how Wicked said. All the things that I would have wanted, I lose. I lose automatically. Because none of the people support the things that I support. And I can't build it myself. Because you need to have liquidity to do that. You need actual money.
I want to. You said something earlier. One side wants you as a minstrel, the other one wants you as a puppet, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have something that I think is true. I want you to know if you think this as well. Each side wants black person, their token black person to stay in their role, right? They want to play a role, act, right?
Yes.
The Brandon Tatums of the right wing versus who's that guy on the far left? What's his name? I can't.
Dean Withers. What's the other guy's name? No, not Brandon Herrera.
Wait. I'll give you another example. I'll give you another example. Some people, white people, like FD Signifier as well.
Yes.
Because you flipped it off. You flipped off the camera.
Did I?
I assume you don't.
No, that was me biting my nail. I'm sorry. That was my ring finger.
What are your thoughts on I know. What are your thoughts on Brandon Tatum versus FD Signifier on each of those guys? Do you not like either one of those guys? Because I know when you were on the panel at the LAN, you kind of threw shots at FD.
I'll throw shots at him all day long. Yes, he is exactly the kind of person that will sell out black people as long as he gets back, because it's what he's technically done. And he did so by building it off the backs of attacking basically black conservatism and black conservatives without actually being able to truly explain their worldviews. He just uses the phantom of what he expects it to be. But basically, any word that is adjacent to red panda and trash panda, as you could use, imagine the word yourself. But the other guy, it's a little bit of both, but it's also dependent on what exactly they're doing. So people on TikTok that cover things, just regular people, like John Cannon, that will talk about black culture, compared against somebody like Jeffrey Mead, Jeff Meadley, an actual figure.
Jeffrey, no,
I can't remember if it's Jeffrey Meadley or Jeff Meadley. I know it starts.
Is it the guy on TikTok with the Jeff Mead? I think is his name.
It might be Mead and not Meadley, but you know what I'm talking about.
I could be wrong. Yeah, I do know.
You have a general idea of who I'm talking about, but people like that, those kind of individuals, especially alongside people like the older millennial, big dad, white guy who's probably in his 50s.
That guy is a sociopath. I don't like that guy. I know what you're talking about. I know older millennial. He's a sociopath.
All of these different types of people basically serve as some type of shock and or representative or respectable citizen of their sides. And one of the pieces of criticism that I had against people like Billboy came from one of his criticisms that he effectively had labored and belabored onto Signifier, which is the example of what he calls the Jester in the Night. You have one person who is effectively a minstrel, who exists to basically be the chicken, watermelon, and popcorn popping example of what blacks could be, for example. And then you have the other example that is the Knight, that basically is the up-and-coming, wears a suit, respectability politics individual, which is effectively, tying back to what we started with earlier, was the example between Comey Gagnon and, say, Nicky the Knife. And the problem with these things is that it's a little bit of both, because you're not really getting a true representation of either side, period. If you say that all of these people are FTX Signifier, you're not really telling the full truth, the whole truth. But if you also say all these people are like this other individual, or any other individual you can summon up to be against them, that can't also be true either. The truth is somewhere closer to the middle, because it's that side and this side, and then what actually happens in between them. This is the main purpose of something like ground rules. You can't know until you investigate. And part of our job is supposed to be informing ourselves and learning more about people, so that we can be
different
aware.
perspectives and
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah,
that.
so that you can be aware of what these perspectives, and what these people believe in are, so that you can know whether or not they're telling the truth, and the thing that they're saying is a version of the truth, or is the full truth, but it's been filtered specifically through a lens. With the example of Signifier, he filters his through a lens, and he represents the example of the Knight, but he does so while also using respectability politics and jester-like behaviors and minstrel-like behaviors to basically make an example of the people that he wants to criticize. But on the same time, he'll platform people like an example in his material from Flies in the Ointment features a creator by the name of Pondering Think, something like that. I know it's on one of the pieces of my content that I called Oreos in the Ointment or something like that. And this individual is one of those figures of black people that effectively is like, we gotta beat these people that be acting real raccoon-like with a blazing fist, because they effectively won't get the program. And they are the example of those people that they make that content for, that they are effectively communicating towards. So like when he had his feud with Destiny over Cop City, and he's getting mad because
I remember that shit. Oh my god.
And then he gets upset against him for some reason, where Destiny was gonna give him the money, but then he decided he's not gonna show up to the debate because he wasn't interested in the debate. He was interested in putting an example against the white Nazi, which that's not what Destiny was. Destiny was something during that time period, but he wasn't that. He wasn't quite.
I have many criticisms of Destiny.
Yeah, like he wasn't quite a liberal at that point.
Many criticisms of that guy.
He wasn't quite a liberal at that point, but he was not the kind of person that FT Signifiers were trying to present him as when he didn't take the debate at that moment. And so Destiny said, okay, cool, fine, I'm going to throw the money at Cop City. And he screamed at the top of his lungs, ah, this white boy. That was like the tonality that set the pace for everybody to decide whether or not they wanted to be on his side, or they just were like, I know about his content, but I don't support him. And I use that specifically because I have an interpersonal example for him. Because I have a friend who makes content called J Longbow. She was supposed to get recruited by FT Signifier, but he at no point in time was interested in who she was as a person, because she's closer to my mentality than to his mentality. Every single time he tried to like seduce her to become a leftist, he would always call her out of her name by calling her Jalongbot. Probably go back in his content and find the examples during that time period, because it was also at the same period he started trying to criticize people like myself, because he made a comment where it's like, there are people that aren't a part of our side that are very intelligent, very smart, but they just don't have the right politics. And that was the code sign for, why won't you two black people get on my team? And the answer is like, you don't speak to what I want. You can't speak to my spirit. You don't relate to me in any way that I want to, and on these things that we could be related with, you clearly want what I have, and I'm not going to give it to you, because you just want me for that and nothing else. Like, you want me to join your side to give you legitimacy. She's not going to do it because she doesn't like you. I'm not going to do it because I don't like the way you give your messaging, because it's very fake, the way that he does it. It's meant to feel familial, but that's, again, because he's supposed to feel like a safe space, whereas where people like myself come from who try to... I don't want
to, like, I have this term, he's like a big teddy bear for white people.
Yeah.
I don't mean that necessarily as like an insult, but like, because I watch his content because I like his content. I think he makes good content, whether I agree with it or not, or agree with everything he does or not, or anything like that. He's a teddy bear for white people, especially the millennial burger joints, the white guys with the hipster glasses and the 2011 Pinterest board type white people.
Yup.
You know what I'm talking about.
Fucking hipsters. And he will swear
He
up and
makes
down.
content specifically for them.
Yeah, he'll swear up and down. They're not my target audience. Bitch, we have access to the same numbers. We can see your demographics. It is 68%.
I don't have a target audience yet.
Like, it's 60.
I know, I don't.
Go ahead.
I don't have a target audience yet.
It's like...
I try to say what I feel, and hopefully some of Carl's viewers can come and join me as well.
Mix and match what it is. Like,
yeah, mix and match. I don't have as much as you do, but everyone follow Carl.
For people like Signifier, like, he'll say that up and down that, oh, I don't make my content for white people. I don't make my content for white people. It's like, your audience is 68% white. The people who are watching you are people who have lifetime subscriptions to Nebula. They are more than likely...
Nebula's the white leftist content, though.
Yes, it is. Because they only let people in based on reputation through people like Lindsay Ellis.
And views.
Yep. And that place exists to allow people like him to feel like they make and create edgier content, but it's the same content they would have already delivered on the platform. They just get paid money for it.
Now I have to wind out here in a second. I have somewhere to be. I also haven't ate all day and I'm fucking hungry. So
get your lunch, King.
I'm gonna get my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But I do want to take a brief closing and then talk to you briefly after we're both off air.
Yeah, no problem.
So, closing story, Pretty Boy GMD, GetMoneyDre, also at Pretty Boy GMD on YouTube, Twitter, X, Twitch. I think I have a Kick account. If not, I'm going to make one. Make sure to follow me. I do video essays, political interviews, and hopefully doing some more stuff like this. Hopefully I can collaborate with Carl on some more content. You know, we had a pretty good LAN party tonight, so.
Everybody can everybody can find me at Single Player Carl on all platforms. Caramel Cage on Twitter.
All right. So I appreciate you, everybody on Carl's side and my side, for tuning in. Carl, I want to ask you some off-stream questions.
Yeah. No
Or
problem.
talk to you a little bit off-stream for like 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, there's no problem.
All right. And I'm gonna end stream right now. Appreciate you tuning in. Appreciate everyone who viewed. Love y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow. I will stream tomorrow, and I will interview another guest from the LAN party. So.
Goodbye, streams. We will see you all later.
Bye, streams. I will stream you live.